This was an objection to the front of the court recommendation. This is a little bit strange because there was an order of the court that seems to have never been followed by the parties. There were ex parte orders issued. There were police intervention and child protective services intervention at some points in time. So the court is unsure where this case stands, which is why I beg both of you to at least consult with an attorney. But obviously, there are no attorneys present. So, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, you're the plaintiff. We'll start with you. What is your opening statement?
My opening statement is as follows. Given the circumstances within the past year, I believe it is in the best interest of Valley to be in my care full time, given the unknown circumstances that keep arising, be it domestic assault, drug usage, jail time where she's left alone. I do believe that it is in her best interest to be with me solely.
Okay. Mr. Richardson, what's your opening statement, sir?
My only statement is that I just really wish to see my daughter again. Hopefully we can go back to what we had. Obviously, when you're living in Reed City now, I've been clean for a long time now. I put the good results in. I had a real epiphany.
How far away do you live from the plaintiff currently?
I live in Reed City now.
And how far away is that from her?
An hour and a half.
How many miles?
Hold on, we're Googling it right now. But
well, you're not supposed to be getting any information from anyone else in that room.
Oh, sorry. I'll Google it right now myself.
Please do.
It is it's 59 miles.
Okay. And how far travel time?
1 hour.
Mm-hmm. So what is it you're requesting, sir?
My request is to match the custody time I have for Timothy, where I get him every other weekend and every other week during the summer and everything. I mean,
okay.
I made some mistakes, but I would like to see my daughter. I've been clean. I've been doing good. I've been going through all.
Well, then I would ask Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, since this changes everything, because the initial objection was because they were requesting week on, week off, which was initially ordered but never followed through. Is it appropriate at this time to do every other weekend? And
no, given the circumstances, it sounds as though he's with the ex that he assaulted numerous times over the past 3 years, where we have an encounter in January where she literally fled the scene. I had to save my daughter. And so
okay. At this point in time, you didn't agree. Therefore, we're going to have to go to proofs. All right. Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, you may call your first witness.
My first witness is Elizabeth Hayes.
Okay. Do we have a Miss Hayes here?
No.
Who is Elizabeth Hayes?
She is the friend of court.
Did you subpoena her as I requested?
We had documented and submitted information to the clerk.
No, I told you at the motion that you needed to subpoena witnesses, and the 5th floor of the courthouse could do that. If you did not subpoena them, they will not show up. So she will not be here. They don't just show up. You have to tell them.
And I spoke to her and sent the information to the clerk. That's why I thought that it was
no. I told you that you had to subpoena the witnesses. Like I said, I rewatched the motion. I was very clear and explicit about how to do this. So who is going to be your witness then?
I would then call upon myself as a witness. I received the friend of court motion and everything.
All right, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, please raise your right hand. All right, since it's obvious that you cannot question yourself, I'll allow you to testify in what's known as the narrative. Please proceed.
The situations over the course of 3 years have increasingly become dangerous to my child, where over the past 2 years, there were 3 incidences where I was called to pretty much rescue her due to unknown circumstances of her father being in jail, incarcerated for breaking PPOs, having over 6 grams of methamphetamine on him, fleeing the police, and again being incarcerated on a Monday where my daughter was expecting to be picked up on that day, only to then have to give her back on that Friday, I believe, because he got out and claimed that he was clean and free. And unfortunately, that just doesn't sound sufficient.
Okay.
When
were those 3 incidents?
There was an incident last year where he was incarcerated for a month and a half.
Approximately when? The question was when. Last year doesn't tell me much.
It was May.
May of 23?
Correct.
And he was incarcerated, according to your testimony, for a month and a half. Is that your testimony?
Are you
Yes.
asking me if that's
Yes,
false?
I'm asking you because I'm trying to clarify what you just said.
That is my testimony in that
Okay.
circumstance.
All right. So he was incarcerated for a month and a half last May of 2023.
Correct.
Okay. You listed 3. When is the second one?
That was the one last year. And then there was an incident in January where the ex was assaulted and he fled to work, where I was then called to the scene in Muskegon, as his witness may explain, where I was called to the scene because he had gone to work. The ex was clearly bruised from her hips to her shoulders. Her Xbox or PlayStation had been smashed. My child witnessed all of these things and to this day still mentions moments of fear or acknowledgement of actions that she should not have witnessed. So at that date in January, I was called to the home in Muskegon where I was able to get my daughter. And then I believe we met in February actually, and we talked. I was told that I had to give her back, and unfortunately, it wasn't the timing for his days, so we waited until Friday. He received her on a Friday. Saturday, I received a call from him stating that she wanted to talk to me, that she missed me. This was a lie. He wanted me to go to the home that he had the PPO at, get the items that were supposedly his, but that's not my concern. That is not my business. I told him I unfortunately not able to do that. So when he called, he pretended that Valerie wanted to talk to me, but she didn't. He just started yelling at me about items that I had no clue where they were. I had no possession of these items. So then after that, he hung up. I was on the call for about a minute and a half and he hung up. I didn't even get to say goodbye to Valerie. She went to school on Monday. He then broke the PPO, was at the home when Jordan saw him and passed by. She called the cops, who then came, picked him up, and they incarcerated him. After which his sister called me because Valerie was at school and she was going to be needing picked up somehow.
Okay,
So
this was then in February?
Correct.
Okay. So we got May of 23, January of 24, and February of 24. Okay, so that clarifies the 3 incidents that you were called to take custody of the child because he was unavailable or unable. Okay, you may proceed. I was just trying to clarify times and dates because sometimes people throw that out there and it's like you find out it happened 4 years ago.
Yep, no,
these are all essentially current to the ongoing issue to this day. Because I know you filed 2 motions, and unfortunately, reviewing the file at the times they were filed and the ex parte orders, they were insufficient. But that's why we're here, is to fill out the gaps and to substantiate some of this stuff or to figure out what's going on. So you may proceed now that I have the 3 dates and times. And again, sir, you get to cross-examine on these. So please proceed.
Can I get a brief explanation when you make cross-examine? I gotta wait till she's done or ask?
Yeah, you wait till she's done and then you get to cross-examine.
Okay, one last question. Can my witness testimony be a cross-examination or I have to wait till I ask the witness?
You have to wait till you get to call a witness. She gets to call all the witnesses she's going to call. Then you may cross-examine her. Well, you may cross-examine all of her and her witnesses, and then you get to call your own witnesses.
I'm going to have my witness's testimony be the proof.
Okay, that's fine. We'll get there. We're not there yet. She's presenting her case.
Yep, I know. Thank you for explaining it.
No, well, I tried to explain it the first time we met. Since I don't remember the first 2 times we met, I know there were a couple of motions in front of me and earlier this year. Forgive me, I don't remember them. I deal with the issue. I deal with the issues as they're presented to me, and I deal with them piecemeal. So it's now that we get to put it all together a little bit better, hopefully. So that's why I wanted to get that down before you just spewed out 3 incidents, ma'am, without any context or substance of the issue. So now please proceed.
I have one last question for you, sir.
Yes.
I have 2 of my witnesses here with me. Do they need to get on Zoom?
They need to get out of that room. Okay. I need them to testify separately. I don't need to.
With me, they're in another room, but
okay. If they're in another room, they will get on Zoom. They need to get on Zoom themselves. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to take
we'll give them time when that happens.
Okay.
For right now, we'll continue with where we're at. All right. She's in her case in chief. And once she presents hers, like I said, you'll get to cross-examine her and any witnesses she calls, and then you'll be able to call your own witnesses.
Okay.
All right. And the court may have some questions for all of you, and we'll see what happens at that point. All right, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, please proceed.
After the incident in February, he was then incarcerated on a Monday and was released on a Wednesday, demanding Valerie back. I at this time said, no, I will not be putting her through this again. that date that I had to pick her up on Monday, I had asked the school to keep her after school because I had set up the after school program for her at my time. But unfortunately, this child is very smart. She understood that if I'm going to the after school program, my father is not picking me up. And she is angry. She is saddened. She misses her father, but she doesn't understand these actions that have occurred within the past 9 months are not safe. The ex that he assaulted over the course of 3.5 years, that is documented within the front of court recommendation, as well as the CPS review that had been completed in January and February. She contested that she witnessed Mr. Richardson smoking methamphetamine within the home. She contested that all of these things were done, but being a victim of domestic assault and abuse, you are scared to answer questions that may help you.
Who
So,
contested? When you say she,
Jordan,
you're talking about your daughter?
no, I'm speaking of Jordan Mansfield, Timothy Richardson's witness.
Okay, okay.
She is the one that called me to the scene in January in order to get my daughter from the trailer, as he had just assaulted her and went to work. And over the course of the few months, we were very close again. As you've known, as I presented in the court cases before, we've gone back and forth where we're able to talk and be on good terms. But then March came around and there was a meeting between myself, Jordan Mansfield, which is the second mother to his child, and his father and stepmother, where they affirmed that he cannot make sound decisions and that they were not sure how to proceed, that they wanted to see Valerie, but unfortunately they couldn't trust that he was not doing what he needed to do. So we did have a meeting March 22nd on a Friday where we hung out at Ravenna Bar, got food, hung out, and then Saturday, Timothy moved in with them. And then the 25th, they had the court proceeding stating that Timothy had already been living with them for months, which is not correct. And I did mention that in a previous proceeding. After March occurred, then May happened. That is when I received the friend of court recommendation. And Jordan herself and I had been communicating as to how the cases are going. I was very scared. There was an incident last year where he moved the car multiple times with my child unbuckled and myself nearby with the door open. I have been very scared of this situation, honestly. I called the cops that day, nothing happened. But the ex was with me on this case until...
What do you mean he moved the car with your child in it?
I had submitted a video where he was coming to pick up Valerie Richardson for a wedding, and he was very rude and disrespectful, was screaming at me. I have video of this as well.
All right, so you say you submitted that, I'm assuming you're wanting to mark that as an exhibit and enter it at this time? Again, no, the court does not look at this stuff unless a witness is on the witness stand to say what it is. I explained that very expressly.
Sure.
You can send us the emails, and I told you a week beforehand, and nobody sent them to me. We got them yesterday. So I have not looked at them. I've made sure that I can download them. But
you just received them yesterday.
Yes, I just received them yesterday.
Correct. I believe both of us submitted items.
They all came in yesterday. They all came in yesterday. That's when my clerk received them. So you said you sent a video.
I believe so, with numerous images. I also received them from Timothy as well back on August 14th. We both had submitted all of these images and documentation and photos back in August.
The court received nothing until yesterday. And what the court received, it appears, is what the court received appears to be nothing but emails. How did you send them to the court?
I sent them to the email. I asked in the email where to send them, and they said to send it to the email. So that's what I did.
Yeah, the email only came through yesterday. And all that the court received, from what I glanced at to make sure that I could open them all, the only thing the court received are all text messages. Do you have access to this video, ma'am, that you can bring up on the computer?
Yeah, that's strange. Apologies.
No, I apologize, because if you sent them in, I'm trying to figure out how you sent them in, because
we sent them both in well before the deadline.
Correct.
Okay.
That's why.
Well, I'm grateful you did. I'm just trying to figure out why I didn't receive it, because all I've received are copies yesterday of text messages all over the place. And again, I haven't read them. I just opened them to make sure I could open them.
Right. So this incident was April 14th. I had called the cops, but they stated
Of this year?
No, 2023.
2023, okay.
They had stated that unfortunately there were no actions needed further and it was a resolved issue. But I do not agree with that whatsoever. I was very distraught. It was horrifying. I thought Valerie was falling out of the door because she was on the right-hand side unbuckled, and it shouldn't have happened like that. Apologies, I'm still going through right now to find it.
Okay.
But she was unbuckled on the right-hand side. He drove off speeding to the left.
And this was what the video showed.
Correct. It shows very clearly. He stated to the officer that he did not have the door open. He stated that Valerie was safe and buckled, but in the video you can clearly see that she was not.
Okay.
Apologies. It's taking a moment to find that.
Relax. Actually, oddly enough, it's easier to do videos through Zoom. When we do it at the courthouse, generally half the time the media that you try to present is not compatible with the stuff at the IT stuff at the courthouse. So
Is there?
yeah, no, that's fine. You can do that. It works. Okay. Looks like a road at this point. And of course, Mr. Richardson, you received this, so because you said you did. Okay.
Oh, come on.
Well, I'm glad you have something there to show it. So you exchange this, and
It's taking just a moment. Apologies.
that's okay. You don't need to apologize. Again, we're just trying to get this right. And if you have that ability to show it, great.
This has just been, yeah.
Might take a moment to load.
So my sister had gone through some things with her boyfriend previously. So at the time when things were getting loud, she decided to record, and that's why she was.
Oh, so this is your sister's recording?
Correct.
But you were there.
Correct. I'm pictured in the video as he drives off.
Okay. Speaking as one who doesn't have IT work for them very well because of probably my age and user error,
I'm not good at. He was always the good one at technology. I am not good whatsoever. Oh, no,
Mr. Richardson, take a compliment when you can get it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't get often that one party will compliment the other, even in the middle of proceedings. So I'll take whatever glue I can get to get you to get along even a little bit.
That's all I want, is just for us to get along and change the new leaf, and I'm really trying. So
well, you're trying, but there are some questions. You've been arrested a couple times, so and that's a matter of court. I mean, those are things I have to acknowledge just
I made
judicially.
mistakes. So
Yeah.
I'm not asking for 50-50
Well,
back.
and you know, justifiably, I mean, the court can take judicial notice of what was filed in the criminal actions against you. But, you know, like you said, you're trying. So we're going to try and move this along from there. The question is how, and how to do it safely for the child.
Yep.
almost there.
Initially, when we did this, sir, I will admit it sounded like you wanted to go back to week on, week off. I think you've reviewed your current situation appropriately.
Yeah,
So,
my dad is a very wise man and had a good talk with me and told me, what would work best. And, I won't be able to get her to school every day. So her just going to continue to take her to school.
yeah,
And I
well,
don't want to miss school again.
the distance is going to be a problem. So,
But I want to see her, every
Yeah.
other weekend. So, and
and the court will mandate that you see her. The question is how and how often, and eventually it will get up to. If it doesn't start the way you want it, it should get up there eventually, as long as it can be done safely. Normalized parenting time should occur. The child needs to know both of you. We just have to make sure it's done safely. I just need to know what the background is and how to start this.
I'm just worried about Miss Gonzalez seeing what happens following the order, because she refused to follow it last time. So with no
She refused to follow it because it was week on, week off. And for obvious reasons, due to the arrests and the incarcerations, she had some concerns.
No, that's understandable.
And then she was protecting the child. Like I said, parenting time is supposed to occur if it can be done safely. The question is, how do we do that? And I need to know how bad it was before I can make or issue an idea of what's going on.
I messed up.
Yeah, I kind of got that from the pleadings and some of the stuff. But the question is, the child's 8, correct?
Yeah.
All right. I may have to meet with her before I issue an opinion, because at this point in time, the Supreme Court has issued a ruling that says I have to meet with a child at least 6 years or older. So we'll finish this, but I will probably not be able to issue a ruling until I meet with your child. I need to take into account her reasonable preference.
That has been something that I've been wanting this whole time.
Well, age is an issue. Normally, we would have never, until about 3 years ago, met with a child under 10. Now the Supreme Court has said any child 6 and older, what the court must meet with.
Oh my gosh,
I got to admit, I've met with 6-year-olds that have not been very helpful.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But I have to do it because that's now the legal mandate.
Sorry, I've got it. It's just taking a second to load.
That's why we were kibitzing until you got it ready.
Oh gosh, come on. It's saying it's sending and then it will be good to watch. It just has to send completely and then I'll be able to click into it to then show that video. And I do apologize if I cry.
Well, I apologize because if you guys both complied with my order and you sent it in last week, I don't know why it's not in my grubby little hands.
That's what I don't understand. Everything showed yesterday. Yeah,
I mean, I think the whole bunch of police reports and stuff like that too.
As always, I keep checking with my clerk starting about 3 days before a hearing. Did you hear anything? Do you know anything? Do you have anything? And she kept saying, nope, not seen anything, not done anything. And we were at the courthouse this week. Today I'm at home. And so I'm a little bit.
Referee, may I say something?
Oh, okay, certainly. My clerk. Yes.
I've been sending you chats.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see them. No, I haven't received any chats.
Oh, that's odd. Because I've been sending them to you while we've been discussing this.
They just showed up, but they did not register as I was getting
They did send, both of them did send emails to me a month ago.
Oh, okay.
But because you can't look at his exhibits beforehand, I sent it to you yesterday. I thought I made that clear.
I apologize, but still, what you sent me were all text messages. There are no.
Correct. I did not receive any videos.
Okay, so my clerk did receive them, and she was withholding them. So, and justifiably, because I can't look at them until the hearing, really. But the court did receive, but what the court received was all text messages. So I did not receive any videos. We're still at square one. Relax. We're going to get through this. It's okay.
Am I able to play this now?
Yes, please, if you can, of course. Whoa.
I showed this to the officer and he said there are no further things needed, and he let him go to the wedding and he didn't talk to him. He didn't talk to him or anything. He said he was fine. So I've been dealing with this for the past year and going to counseling and whatnot, discussing why did this happen? Why did the officer not hear me? Why did he not take care of the situation when my daughter was endangered? It was because at that time, Timmy drove off. He then somehow switched spots very quickly with his witness, Jordan Mansfield, and she returned to the scene and dropped my daughter off right on the road. She didn't go into the driveway, nothing. He lived in Grand at the time, and I don't even know how he made it back to Newaygo where my sister and this incident occurred. So.
Okay.
After that incident, I did have meetings with his dad and stepmom. And I put in a PPO as well as a full custody motion. But at that time was when he was incarcerated. So they thought that my attempts for PPO as well as full custody were simply because he's gone away in jail. She is trying to just get custody. But as you see in the video, I was scared for my child's life. I was scared for my life. My foot got hit, my arm got hit. There shouldn't have been any reason he made it to that wedding. But instead, the officer said, I'll talk to him in the morning. He has a wedding to attend. Luckily, that officer is now resigned and retired, because if I ever get rich, I wanted to badge him. There's no reason that situation occurred, and nothing happened.
Okay. Please continue.
So then, after that, fast forward to May, when we received the recommendation from friend of court for me to have sole physical custody and Timothy to have supervised visitations. I then
Did you have a question about that?
Yeah, I had a question because that child did not look 7 years old or 8 years old. When did that incident occur?
She was a big girl. That was last year.
Really?
She was
Okay.
7.
She was 7. Okay.
Yep, my coworkers always say she's like 10, 12. That's how big she
Okay.
looks.
I'm sorry, but from that video, she looked a lot smaller. So that's why I was questioning when it happened. I apologize.
No, okay.
It's an observation. And I just wanted to kind of like, okay, when did that occur? I wanted to make sure you said when it occurred. I know you did. You've already testified to that. But I'm like, child looked a little small, but could have been the camera angle.
Maybe.
All right, please proceed.
So then May, we received the friend of court recommendation stating that they do not think he was fit to have a split custody with me. They wanted me to have sole physical custody and him have supervised visitations. At that time, I was cordial in talking with Jordan, and I expressed that that was what the friend of court wanted for me to have. She got angry and did not respond to me for a month and a half. And I was like, okay, bad that you don't feel good for me. I get it. You have to have 50-50 with him, but I'm making movements to hopefully get him counseling so that these changes that he's stating that he's made are actual changes and that they stick. Back in February, when we spoke with the friend of court, in the meeting, he even stated, apologies, it may not have been exactly February, but when we met with the friend of court and we were talking about the drug usage, he had initially tried stating that it was initial drug usage in January. But then as the meeting went on, he admitted that it was actually a relapse within the methamphetamine. So it wasn't a first time use. It wasn't I'm stressed out by my daughter's mother, which he keeps trying to put out there. And like I said to the friend of court in you last meeting, if you're stressed out, smoke a cigarette, get a beer. We don't do methamphetamine, not around my kid. So after that occurred, Jordan didn't talk to me for about a month and a half. June, she reached out stating that she was jealous and that unfortunately, due to circumstances, she didn't think it would be a good idea for us to stay in contact, which I agreed. I wasn't going to respond to her. But then July came around and I had multiple people, perhaps it's hearsay, apologies, but multiple people, Timmy, who are you talking to if you're alone in the room? Earlier, he was talking to somebody else as well.
Yeah, it's like, Mr. Richardson, there should be nobody else in there with you.
Sorry, my son wandered in the room. I'm trying to get him out.
Oh, okay. All right.
He's just a 3-year-old. I can't control him. I'm trying to get him out every so often, so I keep putting the phone to my chest and stuff.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Sorry.
All right. So that explains that, Miss Gonzalez-Dean, I guess.
Mr. Gonzalez.
Yeah, you know how to deal with it. Young kids are kind of hard to, so he's doing his best. So
yeah, I'm trying to keep him muted while he's in between. I'm trying to keep putting him back upstairs, but it's hard. I'm shouting people to come grab him. So
no problem. Just relax. Like if you need to recess for a moment, just holler. Okay.
No,
I was paying attention to Shanna, so forgive me. I didn't notice that was going on. So thank you for pointing that out.
I'm just trying to tell the boy to not. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. We've all had young kids, and they kind of rule the roost when things are going on. You guys have dealt with it more for COVID with young kids than I have. So luckily my kids were pretty much adults when all that happened, but it's taught us all a bunch of lessons. So we all had to learn something new. So we'll give some leeway, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, and Mr. Richardson, do what you can. Okay. As long as you're not talking to an adult who's coaching you.
No. I'm talking to an adult to get him. That's about it.
Okay. All right. That'll work. Okay. Shauna, please continue.
So, mid-June, she had reached out apologizing that she wasn't happy for me initially. She was a bit upset that I had gotten full custody suggestion versus the 50-50 as she had. And then July came around. I had numerous people reaching out stating that him and her were back together despite January's events, February's events, the past 3.5 years events where she literally witnessed him doing methamphetamine. He assaulted her in front of the children. She had to flee the home numerous times. They've moved numerous times within the past year. And from the sounds of it, that's actually her home. But I think that's all I have to say, I guess. I'm just looking for actual changes to habits and methamphetamine to not be around my child. I'd like her to go to a home where she knows that she's loved and her father's actually there for her, not just, hey, I've got you. I'm going to leave you with whoever I have next to me so that I can do what I would like to. Because she's seen that far too often. She understands that you love her, but she does not understand that you do not care for her.
Okay, you may cross-examine this witness, Mr. Richardson.
You're on mute.
He'll unmute. Just give him a second. I think he's figured that one out. He's gone back and forth. He's figured it out. It just takes a second.
Yeah.
Sorry. one thing I'd like to say is regarding that, video.
Well, you have to question the witness. She's under oath, you're not.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm trying to do.
The person that's under oath is going to testify. If you could cross-examine her about it, that would be great.
Okay,
And you may present evidence about it later as well.
My first question is, why doesn't the video show the 5 minutes of arguing we had before that, where you made an argument about a pharmacy who had sent the prescription to the wrong pharmacy out of habit, and you made a big deal about that? And why doesn't the video show all the times I tried to get a hold of you to get the address and you refused to give it to me?
That's not correct. You knew the address of my sister's home, and I was not arguing in the beginning. You started screaming at me. She recorded at the time when she did because she saw that you were getting aggressive, and the vehicle note. That is why she began recording at that time.
Okay, that doesn't really answer both of my questions. Why would you refuse to give me the address when I asked them that day? Because clearly if I asked, I didn't know it.
There was no refusal of giving of information, and this is all accounted for on our family wizard. I had given you the information on Thursday night prior to meeting you on Friday, where I actually had to run around for this medication in order to get it to the correct pharmacy. You sent it to a pharmacy that she's never gotten a medication on my time for.
I was not asking about the prescription.
Don't talk over each other. Just let her finish the answer, then re-ask a new question, sir. Thank you.
Over the course of Valerie's lifetime, we've only sent medications to Rite Aid as well as Family Healthcare, as I am an employee there, and the medications are reduced cost. I'm not sure why at that time you decided to send the medication to family hometown in Nuevo when they did not have our information in order to get the medication. You went there on Wednesday in order to get it, but failed to do so because you were not willing to pay the $25 and $12 that was needed for the medication.
Again, I did not ask you about the insurance, and to answer your question on that briefly, the doctor sent it out of habit because I had my other two children there at the time. I did not pick it up because you threw a fit about it, but I will answer those two questions for you. My question was, how come the day before when I was asking for the address on My Family Wizard, you were refusing to give it to me? If I'm asking for it, then I clearly did not know the address. Why were you making it difficult on a stressful day of my father's wedding?
There was no refusal of giving of information. All the information necessary was within the email and text sent on Thursday night. I stated where I would be, which you had been numerous times, my sister's house located in Nuevo. You tried to state that you do not know where that is located, but you've picked my daughter up and dropped her off there numerous times. Are you trying to state that you are unaware of your surroundings at these times?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I don't remember everywhere I go because I don't keep vivid track of that. I'm bad at directions. Unfortunately, that's one of my flaws. I'm asking why when I directly asked you for the address, instead of giving me the address, you told me I already had it, making things more stressful. Why didn't you just give me the address again and make things easy?
At the time, I was working and having to do multiple different things.
How were you working if you were getting my daughter ready for the wedding? I asked you 15 minutes before and 45 minutes before, and you refused to answer until 5 minutes before when I was driving around the area looking for her.
That's not true. I was at the pharmacy getting the medication that you were unwilling to pay for on Wednesday.
You mean the medication that you threw a fit about me getting sent to a different pharmacy and demanded that I send it to the correct pharmacy, so I did?
My simple fit was because you did not try to pay for this medication and simply get it so that our daughter was cared for and had allergy medication.
Ask and answer. Thank you.
Sorry.
Finish your answer, ma'am, then he may ask the next question. And then you may confront the answer, sir.
I was not fighting it. I was frustrated that it wasn't a pharmacy that had all of our information. And for some reason, you were ill-equipped without insurance information and would not gather these medications. So I said, once able to, I can get them. But on this week, Wednesday was your day. You were giving her back to me on Thursday, Friday, whichever, and you failed to do so. I don't understand why it's my concern when you could have paid for these medications.
You're answering more I get, but since you brought the medications, I would like to state this question. How come when I asked you for the insurance information, you then refused to give it to me and said I already had it? Clearly, if I'm asking for it again, therefore I don't have it. Why not make it easier and just give me the insurance information instead of throwing a fit? That's what I'm asking. Why did you intentionally make things more difficult instead of just giving me the answers I was asking for and working with me? Not this other explanation. Why did you intentionally make it more difficult instead of giving me the information I asked for? You could have given me the information or you could have made it more difficult. Why did you choose to make it more difficult?
I chose not to outright give you this information because, one, the places that we send her to already have these informations that you were asking me for. Two, it is also my information. So it was a little, I don't know. I've been a little hesitant to give you anything. I'm talking, sir. I've been hesitant to give you any information of our anything since the incident where you literally hit me and drove off with her. It's hard to speak to you. It's hard to do anything.
So that was before that incident, though. So you would have been fine with it before, like you just said?
No, you've always been on the fence of trustworthy or not.
So now you're changing your answer. I'm her father. You should trust me with the information for me to take care of her. You're saying this because you don't like me. Moving on. My next question is in regards to the incident where Jordan said to you that she didn't trust you and everything. I have text messages that I could get from Jordan right now, but it's too late to submit, sadly, where she did not say that. I've read the text messages myself. Why are you lying about them? I'll make sure to ask my witness Jordan exactly what was said as well, and she's going to probably read them verbatim from her phone. Would you like to change that?
I would not like to change anything. Jordan called the cops on you in January as well as February and numerous
That's
times
not
prior
what
to
I'm
that
asking
for
about.
assault and domestic abuse.
That's
I
not
am
what I
not
asked
scared
about.
of her changing statements that are seeming to be in coordination with what you would like her to do. Since
I
the
am
past to currently, she has always done what you would like her to do. And I have documented messages of her stating such as well, because she was scared of you, Mr. Richardson.
She was, and I was a bad person, but I'm a good person now, and I made mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. But my question to you was not that, which you go on a tangent again just to try to insult me. My question to you was, why did you lie about the last text message that Jordan sent you? Because that is not what it said. I could read it to you if you wanted me to. I could ask Jordan to bring me her phone. I could read it to you, or I'll ask her on the witness stand.
By all means, I have no worry about that.
Yeah.
But
And then my next
you are
question to you is, how come you wish me dead?
Mr. Richardson, at that time, I believe is when you hit me with a car and drove off with our child
No,
unbuckled.
that was not that
I
time.
had
That
an
was last week.
officer, hold on. I had an officer tell me that you were fine to go to a wedding and I was not being cared for. I was scared for my life. There are so many times where I've tried to get you counseling and help, and all you do is show anger, rage, and dismissal of your actions. I am getting you accountability and making sure that you are actually making these changes for our daughter to see a healthy man provide
That's
for
what
her,
I've
because
become.
she does not need to see someone that goes back and forth and demands what he wants in life from everyone around him.
That is not what I do. My next question is, why did you lie to the police saying that you had your foot run over, and that really upset the cop when he came and realized you didn't have your foot run over?
I did not lie.
It's in
Adrenaline
the
was
police
rushing in
report.
the moment. I'm speaking. Please stop.
I wasn't done asking.
Adrenaline.
I said it's in the
I'm
police report. That was
responding.
the final part of my question.
Well, nobody's presented the police report, so somebody's
I
gonna have
have
to
presented it
testify
in
to
the
that.
evidence I sent you.
No, well, then you have to enter it into evidence. It's again, I told you, I don't read that stuff until it's entered appropriately.
Well, I submitted it. Would you like me to pull it up and show it to you?
I don't know if this is the person that you can submit it under. Are you? Well, you are presenting it as rebuttal. So which email is it?
It should be one of the ones I sent between the correspondence. Let me look at my email real quick. Well, I'm getting to it.
Because all I have are texts. I've got no police reports.
I sent a lot of attachments. It's in
Yeah,
the.
you did. Yeah, you did. There were a lot of them, but as I went through them to make sure I could bring them up, none of them was a police report.
One of them should be. I'm pulling it up right now. It's finding it.
I'm double pulling them up too, and I'm clicking through them quick to make
Should
sure.
be the one July 24th, July 11th. No, not that one. Maybe hold on. Sorry, I'm really having a hard time.
No,
with this. I'm not
relax. We're going to try and get this. All right, I just pulled up one of the ones.
It should say about it in the little brief text above. I sent two of them. It should be the second one I sent.
Okay. All right, the one I just went through was like 20 text message statements.
That is Shayna, not me.
Okay. I believe my clerk said that she was able to get yours into one, so let's double check that. All right, there's a specimen result certificate.
It's for my drug test that was failed to be reported last time, showing that I was clean, and I've been clean since my arrest. And I couldn't get.
Okay.
I didn't realize. So
Yeah, it appears I do have a police report. Boy, is that small text.
sorry. It's the best I
No,
could do.
relax. Hey, like I said, we're going to deal with what we've got.
Am I okay to ask Shayna another question while you read this?
Well,
or no?
hold on. I'm trying to figure out how to read it. It's like 0.2 text.
Yeah, it's just related to the police report, so that's all I was going to ask.
Okay, so on what page of the police report? I've got 2 of 4, 3 of 4.
I'm not sure the exact page.
Well,
more or less,
you need to pull it up and find the exact page so that we can.
page is on 2 of 4.
You're being coached, sir.
Oh, sorry. She was handing me the police report. I didn't mean to do that. My bad. My apologies.
No problem. All right, we're out on page 2.
Let me just look through it real quick. Should be. I'm reading it right now. I'm reading through it. Just trying to give me a second.
really quickly about the Zoom thing. I didn't know we could request in person because
I
Zoom's
brought
great.
that was done at the initial hearing, at the initial motion. I
Okay,
requested if you
so
guys wanted it by Zoom or by, okay, I've got page
so it's starting
204.
right here, page 204. She started to unbuckle Valerie from the car seat.
All right,
Timothy then
where's
pulled
this
the car.
at? I've got information,
Interview complaint.
interview
and,
complaint, Shayna. Okay. How many
um,
lines down?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. Yeah.
Okay.
She started to unbuckle the car
Car
seat,
seat.
and Timothy pulled forward and started to move along with the vehicle, and the vehicle did bump her on her side. At one point, right before the car started getting through the app, unbuckled. She states that right before the incident occurred, getting text through the app, they both have set through Kent County, including Emily. She cannot communicate back and forth their own phones because of it. That doesn't say what I want to say. I can't find it directly in this police report. I'm sorry, but I remember the officer saying that was one of the things he was called in about. I'm having trouble
Okay.
locating it here. I'm just nervous right now.
Relax, because you were trying to use it as rebuttals, so therefore we move on.
Okay. But yeah, so then my last question was the same one the officer presented to me that day. If you knew he was stressed for his wedding for his father and everything else, and you were afraid of him, then why did you assume it to be a good time to start an argument with him about the pharmacy that he had already stated was not his fault and that he was already trying to work with you to resolve? Why did you choose then and there as the time to cause an argument when he was just trying to go and when he was already late?
At this point, it's hearsay as to who started that argument, and I will not delve into that.
I'm gonna have to grant that objection.
That's fine.
It is
That's
an
fine.
objection to
That
your
sounds like
hearsay.
I can understand that. There's no proof either way. I guess.
Well, it's what the third party said. It's what the officer
Yeah,
said, and he's not here to testify. So that's
okay.
that is the definition of hearsay.
Then can I ask you myself why you decided to start an argument with me when I was trying to go to my father's wedding and I was trying to get things done? I had a stressful enough day, and if you are so afraid of me, then why did you intentionally start an argument with me when I was trying to leave?
You're again trying to state that I started the argument, and I will not verify or deny that, as I cannot recollect to that point in time. But I do recollect your behavior, your misdemeanor, and your anger in the way that you were treating me in that moment in front of our child. I was not going to allow you to take her to a wedding where I don't know how you're going to speak and how you're going to be treating her after screaming in her face about her mother. There's no reason for me to have to be nice if you can't even pick her up and simply talk to me about insurances.
I told you I did not have time, and that's why I needed to go. Can we talk about this later? And you refused to do so and stated we're talking about this now. But I'm going to move on because that's, again, just probably hearsay or something. And I would like to call my first witness. Is that what I can do now?
Not yet. No, you're just
Okay.
cross-examining this witness. She has not rested her testimony.
All right.
So she gets to re-examine herself if you're resting your cross-examination.
Okay. Then I guess you think of everything I went through. Hold on, just check my notes. I wrote some notes down on my text messages. Oh, on the Ravenna bar meeting, you stated that my dad said I wasn't the right sound in mind, but you stated multiple different things about that, and I wanted to bring that up, and I'm going to ask some questions about that. But you said that my daughter never asked about me, but I was told by my father that she asked many, many times. That's probably inappropriate to bring up now. I got to wait till my dad witnessed. Then I just realized as I asked it.
What are you asking exactly?
I'll ask that when my dad gets there. I just kind of realized I misasked. Sorry, I'm a little nervous still looking through my notes right now.
Okay.
The day that not too much all I got. Thank you.
Okay. All righty. Do you have any re-examination of yourself so you can clarify anything that was asked of you in cross?
I'd just like to reiterate that my statements over the course of these past 3 years has not changed. This man needs help. He needs counseling. And prior to me giving back the child, I do think we need sufficient documentation from a counseling service.
Okay, thank you. Your next witness, ma'am.
I believe I was the only witness at this time. Unfortunately, with the friend of court not going through for that as a witness.
Unfortunately, that was your responsibility. So I explained it to you at the motion. All right, now, Mr. Richardson, you may call your first witness.
All right, I'm going to call Jordan Mansfield. She's let me set the phone off a second and go get her. Sorry,
you may inform her. Is she going to come on a separate?
Yeah, I'm in. She's upstairs.
No problem.
I'm going down.
That's great. And remember, all the witnesses stay separate.
Referee, I do have Ms. Mansfield in the waiting room.
Ouch. It's the first time I've done that.
I do have Ms. Mansfield in the waiting room.
Okay, cool.
I do have one thing to say about one witness though, is my father. He is elderly like yourself. Jordan will help him get on the Zoom call and walk away if that's okay.
That's fine. He can have any IT assistance he needs.
Yeah, I
Uh,
just wanted to say that is going to happen.
Hey,
I think you'd be okay with that.
there are times I have to have my wife step in.
All right. So should be trying to join the call in a second.
And this is Jordan.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Welcome. Ms.
Okay,
Mansfield.
sorry.
All right. No one is in the room with you, correct?
Correct. I have a cat that I'm messing with.
The cats are allowed. Cats and dogs, support animals are always welcome. And I'm sorry, Shauna, that you can't have one at your place where you're at. And Timothy, you can have one where you're at. I mean, if the cat
My
chooses
cat
to.
ran away from me, so he ran to the other room playing with the other cat.
Well, okay. If he comes back, he's welcome. But anyway, support animals are always welcome in my courtroom. Actually, even though I offered it, nobody ever brought one to the courtroom. We have Ghost, but he's a bomb sniffing dog. He doesn't really.
I would bring my cat everywhere with me if I could.
Well, request. I'm up for it.
What was that?
I'm talking to your dad.
Oh, okay.
He's muted. He needs to unmute.
Oh, I might have to go. Yeah, there's
Kinda
a mute button. Click the screen and then click the mute button.
All right. I'm sure Mr. Richardson Sr. are about my age, so I understand the disconnect. Yeah. Hello. Same hair color. Yeah.
I can't hear him yet. He's probably still got muted.
No, he's still muted. So as long as he's not driving,
screen, Dad, and then
tap the lower left hand corner. It should give you a little sign that has a microphone. You tap that microphone, and it should unmute you. Am I interrupting his golf game?
No,
I'd hate to do that, you know. But
no, he's not in his truck right now. I'm gonna
relax.
I was gonna say, when did he pick up golf?
There we are.
Okay,
Mr. Richardson Sr., welcome. Yes, welcome.
Thank you.
No problem. It's okay. You've been called as a witness in this case. Obviously, you're Timothy Richardson Sr.,
Yeah.
the father of Timothy Richardson, the plaintiff in this, no, the defendant in this matter. So, Mr. Richardson Sr., I think you need to maybe change the hand of the phone you're holding because I need you to raise your right one.
He's left-handed.
Yep.
So am I. If you've been noticing, I'm taking notes. And do you swear, sir, and affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in giving testimony?
Yes, I do.
All right. You are obviously the father of the defendant in this matter. So, Mr. Richardson Jr., if you care to proceed in questioning your father, and I note that you're questioning your father, be careful.
I did want to make that statement real quick, and this is regarding Shana and all you guys asking why I haven't gotten in a program yet. I just wanted to address this because I did send in some information about it.
Well,
now.
When you get to testify on your own behalf, when I swear you in, you'll get to testify.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. You're questioning the witness that is under oath at this point in time. Like I said, he's your father. Be careful. But I will allow some leeway, like inheritances and all the other stuff.
All right. My first question is, Dad, the night that you and Shana met to see Valerie, before I started moving back in with you, and she said that you've been hypocritical because you said things. What did you say to Shana that day? What was discussed? What was discussed with Valerie that day when you guys all met? What was Valerie asking you? And can you explain in your own words?
Well, she was asking about you, but we had already made a agreement about that date that we would not talk about those things. And your daughter was asking about you, and she had asked me if I think what you're referring to is probably she had asked me if you were going to move in with me, and I said no. And at that particular time, I had meant that, But when a father hears his son crying and he's on the streets, well, I went down and picked him up. But there was rules when he came to my house, drug tests, and having to set up meetings and to get him sobered up. Father does what he has to do. All we wanted to do is be a part of our granddaughter's life, which Shana had told us that was not a problem. We'd met the one time before on Valerie's birthday. We met her at Dairy Queen. So, I mean, we had never done anything to ever make her distrust us, nor had we ever lied to her, nor had we ever been dishonest, mean, or anything but outright forthcoming. And we were just trying to keep an open lines of communication between us and the mother of our granddaughter. And in doing so, I guess there was some snide remarks, and maybe she took things the wrong way. But, we never once said anything derogatory about Shana. She is the mother of my granddaughter, and I am a Christian man. So, I mean, all people are in the eyes of God are God's children. So, I mean, that's why I don't talk bad of people. I don't talk ill of people. Um, and if anything was mistaken as such, I mean, I've got all the texts. We can go over them anytime you'd like, you know.
Now is that time.
No, don't you
Now
go
is that
first.
time. I
What'd you
mean,
say?
what text did you want? I mean, I don't even know how to get to my text right now. I have no clue. And I mean, those texts are, I mean, there was nothing mean there. And then she blocked me, wouldn't allow me to text her anymore. So I don't know what that was all about, but let me see if I can get there. Hang on. I don't
Now,
even know.
unfortunately, your son gets asked the question, so he's got to
No,
guide
yeah,
this.
sorry. So, did Marilyn ever feel hurt by the way Shana reacted and talked to her with the way when
Oh
she was
yeah.
just
Yeah,
what was that?
absolutely. I mean, making false accusations against us, telling people that we're an unsafe house. I mean, my goodness, we're both upstanding members of our church, and I mean, if you're wondering how I live, follow me around. I'm nothing to hide, absolutely nothing. I mean, yeah, there was a lot of false accusations that she made against us, and but we're not going to do the same thing to her.
I appreciate that, Dad. How do you feel about my change? Do you feel like I've actually changed this time? And did you feel like I was actively seeking help and support? And have I been trying to actively do everything I can for counseling? What is your opinion on me doing all that? Have you seen any progress towards me doing that, or what's your opinion on my change?
You made a total turnaround. I mean, it's a total difference. I think that you continue to work on it. I think that you have shown me that your kids are the most important thing in your life, and as you and I have talked in the past, you were going to change everything because your kids meant that much to you, and you have. It's just you impressed me, like I said before.
Um, uh, do you? I think I read this. Do you remember? I don't know if I'm allowed to ask this question exactly. So correct me if I'm wrong, Judd. I'm trying to figure out where this. But do you remember when I was trying to get into counseling support, what they said, and the reason why I couldn't get in was because they were backlogged? Do you remember that conversation we had about how I've been trying, and they kept just telling me, running me around, no, yes, no, yes, no, we got a counselor, we don't got a counselor. Do you remember that whole ordeal of what I've been trying to go through and how I'm still working through, even since I moved out of your house? Do you remember me trying very hard when I was at your house to get in counseling?
Yeah, there was so much money, and you were trying to get to where you could have some way to pay for it, and they wouldn't look at you for the money. I remember that conversation and trying to get you set up on any programs or assistance that we could in order to get you into counseling, and there was nowhere you could go because of it without, none of us could afford to send you to that type of counseling. So, you did check at Arbor Circle, and I remember her calling me and talking with me and you starting that setup, and that's when you I don't remember. You moved up here about that time, I think.
Yeah, I moved up here, and if I'm making a wrong statement, Judge, correct me. I'm just filling the rest of the information. Right? I was unable to go to that program because currently Newego is full and not receiving new applicants. I'm even having problems with
When
that.
was this?
This would have been right before I moved in, so mid-July. I was just got my insurance.
Of 2024.
Yep. This is because I took me this long to get Medicaid, so I just got Medicaid.
All right. Sorry, I just jumped through some hoops just to make sure I have the timeline correct. Okay. Please
Yep.
continue.
Yep. And so with Medicaid, and I'm not gonna say it's myself, so I'm waiting till my disposition. So I'm jumping ahead of myself. I'm trying hard to do this right. Dad, when you heard from Shana that you were an unsafe household, how did that impact Marilyn personally and you? And what did that make you guys feel like when she said that? Do you feel like that was out of a place of what's best for Valerie, or where do you feel like that came from?
Well, yeah, because she had told us when we met that it was no problem for if we wanted to take Valerie vacation. We said, we like to take the grandkids camping, that. And she acted like that would be fine because I even said to her as we left, I'll call you and talk to you. And that's all we were trying to do with her was to establish lines of communication and have a relationship with our granddaughter. And she continued to badmouth us. And yeah, that hurt. I mean, but we forgive people. I mean, like I said, we're Christians. We forgive people, and we understand that. I mean, I don't know how to put it. I don't know how to say it, but I'm thinking that she's lashing out at anything. It just seemed like she was being mean and spiteful to me, is what it seemed like. Without, I don't like saying bad things about people, but that's what it intended to me to be.
So if I'm correctly, what you're saying is, well, yes, she was looking out for her daughter. It was more than that. It was not just looking out for her daughter. It was also, how much can I hurt Timothy? And you're saying it was a bit of both of that. And it was coming from a right place, but she took it too far. Is that kind of what you're getting at?
That's my
Well, what I'm
first
saying,
question.
All right, ma'am, no, let him answer the question.
what I'm saying is she was well aware that our house is a safe household. She lived in my household when I was married to my previous wife. I've now since been remarried. I mean, her and Timothy lived in my house. What I'm saying is she was well aware that it was a safe house. There was no issues there. And when she turned a 180 and said we're an unsafe house and this and that, there was no evidence, no proof of that. We've always been allowed to watch our granddaughter. We've always, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, because I believe it went more than a mother protecting her child. Yes, I believe that she was doing it out of spite and just mean because her daughter was asking about her father when we were at the restaurant. I mean, she continually brought up your name, Timmy. I mean, I it's just, I don't think it's good for the child right now. I think the child needs a father. I think her father's doing well, and I think he needs to be in her life. And I think his daughter, and Shayna's daughter would benefit from having her father in her life. And I'm just shocked that Shayna can't see that.
I see many things. We'll get to that.
I was going to say, you get to cross-examine, let him finish with his examination.
My next question for you, Dad, is, do you feel I'm capable of taking care of raising my daughter with the turnaround I made? Do you feel confident saying that? Because you said to me before I got better, that there was no way I could do it, and that I, basically deserved to have Shayna take Valerie away, which you were right about at the time. But how do you feel about me now?
I feel you're more than capable, And even at that point when I told you that, there was a point there, yes. And now, yeah, you're the best I've seen you in a long time, Timothy. I mean, you're in good shape now. You're doing well.
So you've seen me in my ins and ups throughout my whole life, struggling with my addictions and my problems. What is different about this one than any of the other previous times? What, in your personal opinion, makes you truly believe that I have seriously changed? What have I done to show it to you? What have I done to prove it to you? What actions have I taken to prove it to you?
Just in the way that you carry yourself, in the way that your everything, your demeanor, in the way that you talked about it, eliminated those people from your life that were a problem, and eliminated those numbers and separated yourself from all of that. That's what the biggest thing I've noticed is your total change.
The change you're referring to with lumber stuff, are you referring to the fact when I deleted all my former contacts with people, how I've changed my number to get away from those people, how I've done a lot I can do to separate myself from those people? Is that the moment you're referring to?
Yeah, like right now you're not going back to work in the factory, because that's the factories is where I'm sorry, but our factories in America today are the worst drug riddled places in this state, in this county. That's where all the drugs are. And when you're working in the factory, you had told me that, and that's why you're seeking other types of employment and changing your career so that you don't have to be involved with that type of stuff. I mean, that shows real change.
So when you say changing my career, you're referring to the fact that I am intentionally taking money, intentionally choosing jobs where I make less money than what I could because it's what's healthier for me versus what's more profitable for me, that I'm more or less throwing away years and years of training to start a new field because it's the healthy choice for me.
That's exactly what I said.
So that, in your mind, would be one way I've definitely shown how I've changed, that I'm purposely not allowing myself to be in those work environments because I know it's an unhealthy place for me.
Yes.
And that I'm actively doing things like cutting all my old contacts and deleting numbers and changing my phone number, and have made as much distance as possible for me from those people, that I have moved far enough away to where, if I ever do get a craving, I'm 2 hours away from driving to a person that I don't even know if they live there anymore. Just saying that I've made all these walls within myself to prevent a weak moment from taking over. Not because I want to, relapse, but because I want to make sure that I have the best possible chance of continuing my recovery.
Yes, Timothy, I told you before, you're taking all the right steps. We just, you got to make sure that you follow through on everything, and that's what I keep pushing you to do, and keep following through on stuff, which you have been. So, yes.
So do you feel that on my own without support at this point if I could continue to stay sober. Just do you feel I'm at that point now? Not that I'm not going to seek help, but that I don't need to be watched 24/7. That I'm confident enough that I don't want to do that.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, that's really all I got is just how much I've changed. And if there's anything else you want to say, Dad, regarding all this?
You know, you always, as I'm going to say this I'm going to address the court in this and both parties. You always tend to not see some things that your sons, or your children may do. You tend to maybe turn a blind eye to it. And this time I no longer turned a blind eye to it. We've worked hard on this together, and through church and through, through God himself. I told my son that recovery is 97% successful with God in your life, and I'm a big advocate. And I think that's got a lot to do with it. He's starting to give his life up to God and starting to follow those ways. And if he continues to do that, there's no problems. It's going to keep him clean and sober. He's going to do those things that are best for his family and best for him. That's what we talked about while he was living with us. We discussed those things and how to be a better person and about temper control and anger management and all that. So.
Thank you, Dad.
Okay. Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, you may cross-examine this witness.
Hi, Tim.
Hi.
So, to start, why did Timmy move out?
Move out? I mean, all this since the last time?
And when was that? Let's go with that.
Time this summer has gone by so fast. It was the beginning of summer.
Yeah. So it was May, June.
Yeah, May, June.
Okay,
right
so he
there.
moved out then.
He didn't actually move out. It was over time that he moved out. He just kind of, the guy he was helping out around our area doing some building construction work with was just not a good person. He was drinking too much and he had to distance himself from it.
Wait, the guy that he was working with, or the guy that he was working with, or Tim?
No. The guy he was working with, not Tim.
Okay.
He was working with a buddy of his. And the guy was drinking after work and stuff. And my son did not want to be around that. And he said, look, Dad, he says, I just can't work with him anymore. He says, I'm going to have to. So he moved up here looking for work up here. As him and Jordan started getting along, Jordan actually, when she saw him, it was kind of funny because we were having custody. He was coming up here and picking him up. She looked at him, and the minute she looked at him, she goes, oh my. She could tell because the color was back in his face. He was putting on weight. He looked healthier. You know what I mean? She knew he was on the right track, and she could see the change in him too.
Hold on. No, let him finish answering. Then you may ask the next question. Let him finish answering.
And she had seen the change in him, and that's when he moved up here because of work. I just see him avoiding those situations now that normally would have, those people that, we're all familiar with those people. We have to make those choices in our life to who we surround ourselves with. And I think he's being very cautious about that right now.
But this boss that you mentioned that was drinking, was that not Dylan Masselink?
Yep.
Did he not live with you guys in your home for some time as well?
Yeah, he lived in our home on and off for about 2-3 weeks until I found out that he had an open warrant for him, and I told him it was not allowed. There was nobody in our house that was going to have an open warrant or an open court warrant because my wife works for the court and she's not going to lie to anybody. Neither do I.
And when was that?
That was earlier than May. That was because I remember it being cold, and I told him you can, because he got his stuff getting ready to leave.
Within the past year?
Oh yeah, that was this year. That was in 24. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I started working for Dylan after I moved in with my dad's. There you go.
Which was when?
That would have been after I got out of jail. Right after I got out of jail, so I moved with my dad and everything. After all that happened, so I lived with somebody for a minute, and then I moved back with my dad.
So Dylan wasn't technically living with us, Shayna. He was just spending the night there, and then it turned into like 2-3 nights in a row, and that's when we looked into that situation.
And again, that was in the past few months, basically.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Like I say, we were not going to allow that in our house. We're not going to be.
I get that, but we're talking. It's all recent events.
Yes, that's all recent events. Yep.
Okay. These are reasons why I brought this up, because that is concerning to invite someone in your home that you didn't understand their situation.
Well,
that
I'm telling
something
you,
that
that's what I'm
happened?
telling you, Shayna. As soon as he came into our home, we did the research on him. My wife looked it up because it just something didn't seem right. And it's like that story doesn't add up. And as soon as we looked it up, we found out and it confronted him immediately. He had not, he wasn't living there. He wasn't living there. Like I said, he was spending, instead of driving home, he'd asked to crash there. So we kind of set up a room so if he wanted to crash there, but it wasn't every night. It was 1 or 2 nights a week. And that's when things didn't add up. And that's when we looked at it and said, no, we're not going to allow this. Not even 1 or 2 nights a week.
And he didn't warn you that Dylan was a past friend that would supply him with drugs and that he was a
And
known user in the past?
I had,
He didn't tell you
I
that?
had, I had no information about that. No, ma'am.
Rules. You mentioned that you had told him he had to do meetings. Was that for rehab or counseling? And what documentation do you have from that actually held? Like, did he actually make appointments?
I left that up to him. And then like I said, his counselor called and said that he had talked to him and that they were working on getting him in. And I have drug tests that I give him. Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. He had the drug test. You bet. There was none of that going to be allowed in my house.
Right. So you mentioned that there wasn't money for counseling, but these past times that he was incarcerated, who was the person that bailed him out?
Wasn't me. Was not me.
And then, what steps, you say he's taken the steps, he's doing better. What steps are you talking about? What exactly do you see that he's done that actually hold? And you see that he's learned from these actions and he can make better decisions and not out of fear made by him, like his own self.
First off, Shayna, he's sober. Okay. He's sober and he's not doing drugs, and that'll clear your mind. And he is making better decisions being sober. And now he knows enough not to put himself around those people. He knows his weaknesses. He's facing his weaknesses, and he's not going to allow that to happen to his life again. That's how important his children are to him.
But also what's important is that you verify that he has had these ups and downs where he keeps getting mixed in with these people. And I know for a fact that his phone number has changed numerous times. He told us just a moment ago that he knows he has a 2-hour drive from Reed City. What actually do you think is holding him back from doing this? Do you think it's actually him making sound decisions, or is he scared of getting in trouble again?
No, I think it's good decisions. I mean, I don't getting in trouble never scared him before, did it?
No.
I mean, think about it. I mean, he's making good decisions is what he's doing.
But what steps have you seen? Like, do you know the actual steps that he's taken for improvement?
Well, I know for a fact that, he calls me and talks to me quite often. If there's anything that's questionable, we'll discuss it. And the other thing I see, like I said, he's eliminated people from his life. He's not working in the same place, even though he can make a whole lot more money. He's not working there. He's retraining. He's getting himself ready to be, he just like that's, I mean, just same thing I told Timmy is he's went through a lot of different things to change his lifestyle, to change his habits, and to eliminate stress and eliminate anger.
But do you think if presented with moments of anger and stress, can he handle himself? Because you have mentioned that I thought it was an unsafe household. And like I mentioned, the boss being moved in, that was an alcoholic, the warrants and whatnot. These are fair concerns. What false accusations would you say that I've said in order to make you seem?
Well, and I just hear what people have told me you have said. So I guess maybe that you have said that we were an unsafe household, which is untrue, and you know that. I mean, like you want to bring that back to Dylan. He never drank while he was at my house. He wasn't allowed. There's that kind of stuff's not allowed in my house. I mean, I've got a bottle of wine in the cupboard, Shana, that's been there for 2 years that my wife and I keep threatening to have over a dinner one night.
To clarify, I don't think anything has been said that your house is unsafe.
Yeah.
What has been said is there's a concern because he's there and he's unsafe.
Oh.
So no, you have never been accused of having an unsafe household, okay, Mr. Richardson. Okay. Not you. It's just that your son is unsafe because there's concerns of his decisions, regardless of how you're trying to help him. So I just wanted I just wanted to clarify. No one's accused you of having an unsafe house. What they've said is that there's an unsafe house because he's there because of the decisions he makes, regardless of your protections.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. It's just in my house.
I understand. It's not.
I am the boss.
Yeah.
In my house, and I mean, I don't mean to say that
No.
to sound sexist either.
Well-
but I mean, all decisions go through me, and you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying. I'm not actually, my wife's the boss. I just asked her if I can make these decisions.
I was going to say I just celebrated I just celebrated my 33rd wedding anniversary, and I get
Yeah,
that.
you know where I'm coming from. Then,
Yeah,
so,
and my wife is the boss, but at the same time, I will admit that I don't know everything that goes on in my own household as much as I try to keep it safe.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
nobody's accusing you of keeping it unsafe. What they're accusing is that, or what they're stating, or what the testimony has said, is that he's unsafe, whether he's in your household or not, because the decisions he's making, irregardless of how you can control the atmosphere.
Yeah. And like I said, I have never personally seen him unsafe, Shayna. Myself, all I've heard is what you or Jordan or somebody else has told me, but I personally have never seen it. I would assume that's out of respect for me, you know. That's
Very much so. And no one said anything against you or your wife. Nobody. No
I have all due
testimony.
respect for you and Marilyn.
Including Ms. Gonzalez-Dean. She has never said anything against you. She's just
All right.
concerned because of,
May I speak
you know,
plainly
let's-
about that real quick?
let's face it, we all take care of our kids.
Referee,
Well,
Kmetz,
that's
can I
what I'm
speak to him
saying.
on that matter for a second?
Well, and Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, yes.
So I had approached Marilyn in a sense of, hey, this man is doing drugs. He's not getting help. Can you get help? And unfortunately, it didn't seem like she wanted to do tough love and get rehabilitation and things
Again,
like that for him.
we'll go with your questions on Mr. Richardson Sr. then.
I
That's
just didn't
above
want him
and
to
beyond.
think they're ill feelings.
I know. That's what I was trying to point out, is that no one's accused him or his wife of having an unsafe household. What the concerns are is
understood.
that the decisions of their son, regardless of how, you know, they act or try to maintain, there's concerns about his decisions. So
his decision making, like I say, I have never seen him make those decisions in front of me. I've
Right.
heard of them. I've seen some of the repercussions of them. And I mean,
well,
the person I see now, I've actually got my son back. Put it that way. I have got.
Kids are great
My
at
son
hiding
back.
things. Kids are amazing at hiding things.
Well, and I'm telling you what, this last little episode, he'd have a tough time hiding things from me now. You know, if I have any questions, he knows. I've got, you know, he said,
Understood. There are concerns about him, not about you.
And I see the same person now that I did when he moved out of our house. I see the person determined to stay sober.
I just wanted you to know that she's not. I just wanted to know.
I understand. I thank you for that. Yes.
Yeah. That
yes,
she has not questioned you or your wife. She has questioned the father of her perfect child.
And that was my answer to her question. Like I said, I see a big change in him. I've got my son back. You know, I mean,
and we'll get
through
into
the years.
that
He's hit some stuff from us. I don't think he can pull it off no more, because I'm a little leery. You know, when I look at him, I'm looking at him with that judgmental look, and you know, and I'm not afraid to say, here, pee in this cup. We're going to find out. You know, if there's anything up, you know, there's not a question in my mind what I'll do. But he hasn't given me that. I don't see that in him. I just don't see it in his eyes. And I'm a father, and I see that.
Yeah, I understand that. That's the concern of a father. So I will let Ms. Gonzalez-Dean continue with her cross-examination.
So
I just wanted you to know that she's never questioned you.
Yep.
No, I love you, Tim. Sorry. It's just, this is what it is.
This is where we're at. This is the court situation. And sometimes if I can explain that, because there are relationships here that I don't want to destroy, because people aren't destroying them, even though they feel like they are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you guys, no matter how I rule, no matter what happens here, you guys are related, because you have this wonderful child.
And that's why I still meet and stuff. And we have had meetings.
My daughter again, man. That's all I want.
Yeah.
I just want to see my daughter.
And that's where we're getting to. So I just have to do it correctly and safely.
Yep. I messed up, and I bottom line, I just.
And the mess up is recent. So let's go. Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, please conclude or continue.
Tim, you had mentioned a couple times previously and currently about leaning heavily on religion for Mr. Richardson. But that's your hope. Do you see a hope in himself that he has found God and is making those changes? Or do you still feel like that's your, you know, kind of like you pushing and him just reacting?
That's my hope for everybody. That's my hope for you too, Shayna. Just to clarify that question. But no, I see a change in his heart. You know, I really do. I mean, you know, and if you took the time to look, Shayna, and understand and I understand, there's been a lot of hard things that went on. But if you look at him, Shayna, and you look at him in the eyes and you really talk to him, instead of you guys being angry with each other, you'll see what I'm saying. He's a changed man.
I'm not trying to come out with anger, just boundaries and what can we do
Well,
to.
I mean, I'm not saying you both got angry. I mean, you're both kind of mad at each other a little bit, and it's understandable in this situation.
Really
I mean,
not mad.
you're trying to protect your daughter, and he's trying to see her. His daughter. I mean, and that's the issue. Yep. And I just want what's best for the child, and so does Timothy. So.
Last year's just given a lot of concerning events where I brought up to you and Marilyn, and instead of working with me to come up to a resolution, it felt as though I just had to put up with things. Why did you not come to me on a personal level like, hey, my son needs help, as I came to you guys that he needed help? Why was it always seeming like a fight versus a, hey, let's get Mr. Richardson Jr. some help?
Why would I discuss that with you?
As the mother of his child?
You had never called me and mentioned anything to me. I thought our lines of communication were open between me and you. I was well aware of what he was doing while he was living with me and before he was living with me. I was well aware of what he was doing when him and Jordan split up, But I mean, sometimes you got to let him fall, and that's where he was. And that's why, Shayna, when I seen that situation, for the protection of my granddaughter, your daughter, and his daughter, I called you and told you that he had been put in jail. I didn't do that out of spite. I would have picked her up. My daughter Shannon would have picked her up. But that's why I called you, hon, and said, hey, look, because I love you and I love Val,
And I love you as well. But why didn't, when I came to you for counseling, why didn't you?
When did you come to me for counseling?
Multiple times. That's why I told Marilyn and you as well. We've messaged. We need some tough love. And you very directly told me that, unfortunately, with religion, you don't have tough love. You want him to come to Christ.
I had never said that. I told you we were doing tough love. That's why he was out on the street. That's why he lived on the street. Was tough. That's what tough love was right there.
No, I have the text.
I let him go to jail.
All
right. I never posted bail for him. That was tough love. I don't know who posted. I know who posted bail now, but I didn't know at that time. But I was going to leave him in jail.
All right, let me go with the question that I had at one point, because I've got a couple. You said there was a point in time that he was on the streets. When was that, Mr. Richardson?
That was just before he moved in with us.
Which was
right after he got out of jail.
Which was when?
My dates was in this year, in 24. Yeah. February, March.
February, March. Okay. Thank you. I'm just trying to place times on some of this stuff. Because people testify to all this stuff, and then I find out sometimes that it's years ago. Sometimes I find out it was last month. Because nobody testified. So that was this year.
Yep.
Okay.
I've had no issues in the past other than this year where it came into question, with Valerie, where I felt that he was unable, in his current condition.
Well, obviously he was in the streets, and that's your testimony, and that was earlier this year. Okay.
Yep.
I was just trying to put a timeline to that since this testimony went there. Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, please continue. I apologize about interrupting. I'm just trying to put a timeline on this.
I believe I have no further questions at this time.
All right. Mr. Richardson Jr.?
Son's Timothy. Timothy. Or my dad calls him
well, but yeah, I got to distinguish because I got a Timothy Richardson and a Timothy Richardson. So
Tim, my dad. I'm Timmy.
Yes.
My son is Timothy.
All right, Timmy, go for it. Any re-examination of your father?
That's what everyone does it.
I'll allow questions on your inheritance or something if you want, but
hey, there's some benefits.
I'm spending it.
Good for you. Go for it. Yes.
Yeah. Out.
Speaking as a fellow gray hair. Love it.
Yeah. Well, at least you got all yours. I'm missing some of mine now.
Well, we won't go with the
headset. I got the back.
Yeah,
the people that sit behind me in church think I'm bald.
Yeah, the headset hides mine, so we'll go with that.
Yeah.
All right, Timmy. Now that we've got that
set. Good question, dude. I just lost it, darn it. Oh, hold on. Oh, Dylan, when he was living with us and when I started working for him, do you recall the fact that he made a big deal about him being sober and finding God?
Yeah, that's what he told me. And that's why he asked me to stay there. He told me he'd sobered up and found God and everything else. And talking to him, like I said, things just didn't add up. That's why Marilyn looked into it, So
did you say me and Dylan bonded over the fact that we were both now sober people trying to live a sober life?
Yep.
And would you say that I stopped associating myself with Dylan the exact moment I felt he was dipping back into losing his sobriety, that I said, that's not good for me, and cut ties? Would you say that's what happened?
That's what I already said that happened. I already said that.
Wanted to clarify for the court that
Yes, that's what I would say happened. Yes,
and the second he
absolutely.
lost Wagon, I was done with him and his company and decided that I would rather be jobless and find a new job than work with somebody who could potentially lead to my downfall.
Yep, absolutely.
So would you say that was a smart choice on my part in actively taking steps to keep my sobriety?
Yes, yeah. The only way you can do better, Timmy, is by surrounding yourself with better people.
Exactly. So in your opinion, the fact that I literally gave up my job and source of income in exchange for my sobriety, is that a sign that I have changed?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you very much. Judge, if you have any questions for him?
I do, actually. Mr. Richardson, what's your understanding of addiction?
My understanding of an addiction is a substance that controls you, whether it be alcohol, whether it be crystal meth, whether it be cocaine, whatever, heroin, whatever.
What's your understanding of trying to get away from that addiction?
My understanding of trying to get away from that addiction is to be in control of to be free of that.
Timelines?
Timelines. What do you mean timelines?
How long? People find God within a month, but addiction has a different timeline of itself. That's why I'm asking you what your understanding is.
My understanding of timeline? Well, I've been dealing with my brother, who's been with alcoholism with my older brother. And, he'll stay sober for 6 months or so and then go back. But in dealing with that, every time you think, okay, this is it, this is good. But I've always had that doubt with my brother, okay? And dealt with it. I've been my brother's keeper for a lot of years, and got him through a lot of stuff. This time, I just know when somebody is trying to pull the wool over my eyes. I've been wizened up through dealing with these people. And also I deal with a lot of people at work. We deal with that younger generation. I've seen them come in, I've seen them go, and I have to deal with them. I have to pull them aside. I have to reprimand or the last case we had to fire somebody. We had to let somebody go and we turned them into it. So I know what it is. I know what I'm looking for now. I've educated myself on it. I've asked the questions. I've talked to people to understand what the signs are. That's what I'm trying to understand more about addiction than I do. Yes. So that's what I'm trying to get at.
No problem. I understand. I just wanted to understand that you realize with your testimony that this is an ongoing issue, correct?
Yes.
It doesn't cure itself in a month.
No.
Or two.
No, it's a lifetime.
But it does take the support system that you're providing.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to get to. Because this is all recent.
Yes.
There are concerns. So I just
Absolutely.
wanted to get there.
Absolutely.
At this point in time, unfortunately, we're at 5 o'clock. So, Mr. Richardson, do you have any other witnesses?
I do have one more.
I think you do have. So we're going to have to schedule this for another day.
Okay, I figured as much.
I apologize. I'd love to go on for hours, but I'm not going to keep you all here. And Mr. Richardson, not Timmy, sorry. You're stuck in a car, man.
Yeah. He's right outside my house. He's not uncomfortable. He's in his
he's outside your. Wait, you wouldn't even let him in the house? Come on, dude.
It's a different room. I'm trying to follow your rules.
Well, a different room, but man,
Be nicer to your dad.
I just
nicer, dude.
I work outside. I'm good.
He likes
I'm so sorry, Mr. Richardson. Jeez.
That he washes
Are you
every
seeing
day.
at least?
That he cares a lot about.
Hey,
I have my door open and
no
we had
harm,
a
no
young one
foul.
bump his head.
It's hot out there. Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good.
I want to make sure everybody is
outside.
comfortable. No, Timmy, I get it. Worry about it. I'm just trying to make sure nobody's in the same room so they don't hear the testimony. That's all. That's all this is about. But let's make sure your mom doesn't have to testify from the car, okay? Find her, find her a bedroom or something, man.
Yeah. All right.
There's more rooms here.
I look
This is
forward
where
to
I'm the
hearing
most
her.
comfortable.
Oh, okay. In that case, never mind.
Construction worker, so he's a head of construction. You know, you ever seen Ricky in the boss shorts? He's the boss.
Okay. I was thinking, Mr. Richardson, find a recliner next time.
He goes back. He's probably the most comfortable of all of us.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You know, you can have a remote in your hand just to make sure you're really comfortable.
If it gets too hot, I got AC.
Good point. In any event, let's make sure your mom's comfortable for the next hearing. Separate
That's not
room
my
for
mom.
you.
It's a friend of the
We adjourned because Mr. Richardson, you had a witness to present who was a friend who was unavailable at that time to work. Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, you needed to present the front of the court, which the court would like to hear from, which is why we gave that indulgence. But Mr. Richardson, we'll start with you. Do you have your witness here?
Yes, Courtney should be here. I just sent her the info for the Zoom meeting. Is she here?
Well, let's find out.
Yeah, she's here.
Then let's bring in his witness testimony.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Richardson, this is your witness. It was still your case in chief. We reserved on the front of the court, depending upon their presence and subpoena. So, Mr. Richardson, you may question your witness. Take a seat, Ms. Kirkendall. Take a deep breath. Mr. Richardson,
Am I good to go?
you're good to go.
All right, Courtney, my first question for you is, how do you see me as a father with what you've seen with my son and whatnot?
So I mean, you're pretty family oriented with like, especially to do with like your son. We do a lot of like family dinners together. There's been like a lot of times that like you've taken like your son and my kids to go play outside. You're just like really there for him, giving him what he needs, the attention he needs, the needs that he needs, stuff like that.
All right, my next question for you is, do you consider me to be a caring and compassionate father that cares about his kids?
Yes.
I think it's some more questions here. I had a whole bunch of them loaded up, and now that I'm here, I'm always so nervous. I always get like that.
Take a deep breath. We'll get you through this. That's the whole point. That's why I've been so patient with both of you, is to try, because look, this is your child. I am just trying to make a decision based on what you present to me as evidence. It's never easy and it's never perfect. You will always know your child better than I do. So take a deep breath, ask these questions, and give me the evidence that you can give me, please.
Courtney,
I ask that of both of you.
Courtney, do you feel that I'm capable of being the proper father for my daughter like she needs right now?
Absolutely.
All right. Now you weren't there for much of my bad times, which I struggled through, but you've seen me since I've been post recovery. And how would you describe me since, I've been living next to you and whatnot, and we've been communicating regularly? How would you describe my parenting style, my relationship, my family, just my general way about me?
You've been pretty present, making sure that you're there for not only Timothy's needs and Timothy's appointments, but I've even seen you like take time off of work to be there for like Ellie. So you've just really been present in the children that you're around right now, and I feel like you would also be that present with Valerie as well.
Okay.
So
Continue. Finish that answer.
Okay. So in addition to just being the present, you're being present. You're just making sure that you're fulfilling all the needs that they need.
Okay. Something in your answer kind of reminded me. Normally people ask, what's the relationship between the parties? So how do you know the parties, ma'am?
So he is in a relationship with my best friend.
Okay.
Yep.
So when you talk about other children, they're your best friend's children?
Yes. Yep. He lives in the home with my best friend and her daughter and their shared son.
And are you a neighbor then too?
Yes, I am. I actually moved her out here with me maybe 6 months ago.
Okay, forgive me, because it does make a difference how the relationship is.
Yep.
So you're not his significant other, you're the best friend of his significant other. And when you talk about the kids, you're talking about her kids, not your kids.
Correct. I mean, he's definitely been a part of like my kids' life as well. We do, like I said in one of my answers, we do like a lot of family dinners together. So we rotate like who cooks on which day. So like they might cook one day, I might cook one day, and we all sit down and have family dinner together.
Okay, so you have a neighbor that you're a good friend with who's the best friend of your current significant other who lives with you. Thank you, Mr. Richardson. I kind of needed that connection.
Sorry, I didn't
No.
My apologies.
Well, no apologies necessary. You're not an attorney. I'm trying to treat you like an attorney. And the same with Ms. Gonzalez-Dean. So, but at the same time, I'm trying to make all the connections that are necessary to make this decision. So please proceed, Mr. Richardson, in questioning your witness.
I don't know how to quite word this right, so I'm just going to kind of say it and see if you express your opinions on it. But so Valerie, as you know, I haven't seen her, is missing out on more than just me. She's missing out on her whole family. My question to you is, as a mother of her best friends, your daughter Aria and Ellie. Do you feel like the rest of the children really miss her because they haven't seen her? I mean, is there anything you can give examples to showing that, she's not just missing her dad, she's missing her whole family is kind of what I'm getting at. Anything you want to say on that?
So it's just it's kind of a very unfortunate circumstance, and everybody's kind of missing Val. She was a pretty major part of the family. There's been even times that I've went out and done things with Val. And you can definitely see that the people around that were around when she was are hurting from it. My own daughter asks about Val all the time. So it's definitely affecting multiple people not having her around.
Is there anything else you would like to say or add, Courtney? I mean, feel free to. Just any more thoughts on, why you feel like I've gotten to the point now where I should be able to see my daughter again. What have I done to really prove that to you? And, what do you see in me as a capable father that says I'm ready to see her again? And, not just me, but like you said, her sisters, her brother, her sister, her brother, and her grandparents stuff. Cause we all miss her, we all want to see her again. What are your thoughts on that?
So the only thing I really have to say is, I've definitely seen the strides, especially since you've came to Reed City. I wasn't really around for like the bad parts of anything. But even going back to when you guys lived out in Grant and I was around those times, you were out doing a lot of work and you weren't really present and you weren't really around for a lot of things. And now coming to Reed City and being sober and all of that, you're here every day. You make sure you're here for dinner. You make sure that you're going to conferences, you're going to doctor's appointments. You're participating in the family dinners by making dinners, taking the kids out to the park. Like, you've really stepped up as a parent. And I definitely think that Val also needs to experience that.
Thank you very much. I guess that's really all I have. Because my whole point with this witness was to just kind of say, hey, I'm doing good. We miss her, and then it's not just me that miss her; it's the whole family miss her. And I feel like I've got my point across with that. And like I said, I'm putting work first. I mean, not putting family first, not work first, like I used to.
Yep.
All righty, Miss Gonzalez-Dean, if you got to cross-examine this witness.
You said he takes time off for Ellie's appointments, but at what point did he get a job that was full-time where he had to take time off now?
He is currently working for a roofing company.
Right. Is that the roofing company that the boss was kicked out of his home previously?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. And then, I don't know how to state this question. I guess this isn't really a question for you, more so.
She's the witness on the stand, so you have to question the witness that's there.
Yes. When would you say that Timmy moved in permanently across the hall from you?
I would say, what are we in? We're in October, so it was probably close to the end of, I gotta math back my months. January, February, March, April, May, June, July. I would say probably about the end of July, beginning of August.
Okay. So in the time that he was abusive to your best friend, did she ever come to you and say that, hey, we need change? What do you think we should do? Were there ever options of counseling that she ever spoke of? Or is it just, hey, he's changed now?
I wasn't really present for that. She wasn't really keeping me in the loop about it. So I can't really speak on that a whole lot.
And well, hold on. When was that, ma'am? Let me give a timeline here.
For the abuse?
Yes.
I'm not quite sure. I know that
in the past year, the past few months.
I would say maybe like the past year. Like I said, I don't know much about it, so I can't really speak on it.
Okay.
So how are you able to speak to it now?
I can speak on how much he's changed from back when he lived in Grant to now. Not on the abuse or anything like that, but I can speak on how he's present in the children's lives now.
And what timeline is that? I'm sorry, some people forget the timelines. I have people that testify to stuff like this and it's 5 years old. So sometimes it was last month. So
yeah, for sure. I get that. So there was a pretty big gap in communication between me and my best friend when she moved out to Muskegon.
And when was that? Again, timeline.
That was I'm trying. That
I'm
was,
asking for approximates, like months, seasons, or and year.
so she moved from Muskegon about 6 months ago. So 6 months ago, she was back out in Muskegon. Before that, she was living in Grant, and that was maybe a year ago.
Okay.
So this is, there was like a year gap between me being around them.
Okay. So you only your testimony is for the past 6 months.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Correct.
Now that I have a timeline, please continue.
I'm sorry.
No, do not apologize. Look, let's hope this is the first and only time you ever have to testify in court.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's a stressful situation. You have two parties who are trying to elicit testimony.
Yep.
And, they don't, because they're not represented by attorneys, they don't realize what's pertinent to the court. I'm trying to decipher timelines, activities, incidents, and that's why I needed the timelines within the past 6 months.
Okay.
Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, you're on cross-examination of this witness. Please continue.
So within the past 6 months, you guys have reconnected.
Yep.
But if you're were you her best friend, would you say earlier this year or just within the past 6 months?
I've been best friends with her for about 10 years.
Okay. So as her best friend, you not knowing these things within the past year that happened just in January, how do you think, what gives you, sorry, I'm trying to word this in a good way. How do you know what happens behind closed doors is not the same as 6 months ago? What if it's just, being best friends again and it's nice to see you? I mean, she didn't tell you earlier this year. Why would she tell you now?
Because I am with them every single day. From the moment that Timmy gets home from work, I get home from work. We are pretty much with each other from dinner time because we share dinners every single night until we all decide to go to bed.
And then I think that's about it for now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no
All right.
problem.
So you're not his current girlfriend, correct?
No, I am his girlfriend's best friend.
Oh, okay. Don't mind me. I mean, relationships are just
I know, and
different.
it's kind of a weird circumstance too. It's just kind of we talk about the family dinners. It's a way to save money.
Well, and that's why I asked, because you
Yep.
said you eat together every night.
Yep.
So I'm trying to establish the relationship here.
Yep.
And I've dealt with some different relationships. There are many people that have polyamorous ones. There are
yeah.
people that have
No.
no offense, not polyamorous, but there are
Mhm.
people that have very, very close relationships where they're a family despite what everything else is, and it has nothing to do with relationships. It has everything to do with, hi, we're all together, we're trying to make this work.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We're trying to get through life. And that sounds like where you're at.
Yep.
Is that correct? So you
Yep.
guys eat every night.
Mm-hmm.
Who prepares the meals?
We alternate meals. So one night me and my boyfriend will prepare meals. The
Okay.
next night her and Timmy will prepare meals. And whoever prepares the meal will eat at each other's houses.
And how many children do you have?
I have 3.
All right. And Timmy has how many?
He has Timothy and Valerie. And then his girlfriend also has a daughter named Ellie, who he is present in her life as well.
So whose home do you meet with the most?
It goes in between both. It's just whoever ends up
Okay.
making dinner that night. Yep.
Forgive me, I'm just trying to set up the scenario here.
Yep.
And so who cooks the most?
We alternate every single night.
Does Tim do any of the cooking?
He does every once in a while. He has started.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Oh, he just started. God help you.
I'm a notoriously bad cook. My daughter used to make fun of me for burning mac and cheese, so I'm a notoriously bad cook.
Water.
I'm learning. I'm trying for the kids.
Hey, that's all that counts, is that you're learning. To
It's
me,
a lot of effort.
my background's biochemistry, so the kitchen
Got
is
it.
nothing more than a lab to me. So that's my kitchen.
Yep.
When my wife and I first got married 33 years ago, I'm the one that chose everything that went into the kitchen because she had no clue.
Yep.
So yeah, food is what connects us.
It does.
And the fact that you've got somebody, Tim, that you're meeting with even nightly. I was just wondering how much you did of the cooking and what you did of the meal prep and who does all this.
If I don't cook, I do the cleanup kind of thing. So I'm always
Well, that's the typical. I still do the cleanup whether I cook or not. God help me when my daughter prepares meals, because then every dish in the house is used. She's 24. God help us. But teach your kids well. And that's one of the skills to teach. You have to eat. You have to take care of the home. I asked the question because I'm trying to establish the relationship. So
Yeah.
forgive me for the intrusion.
No, completely fine.
Understood. All right. Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, you were done with this witness at this point?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Richardson, are you done with this witness?
I
You may ask more questions, and then Ms. Gonzalez-Dean gets the cross-examination, gets the cross-exam again.
think I'm pretty much good. I don't want
Okay.
to drag on too long because eventually here pretty quick my crew's gonna get done working and I'm gonna have to get in the truck one. I don't want to upset you with that. So
Understood. Well, work is work, and that's one of the reasons we do it this way. We interfere with work less. Ms. Kirkendall, thank you for your testimony, and
Yeah.
may you guys continue to share those meals.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
they are important and they are wonderful.
Yeah.
And hey, explore. You never know. I'm
I
having
actually
to
do have
learn.
one question.
Oh, certainly, Mr. Richardson.
Just to kind of show the whole family being dedicated and happy to everything's Val come. You've been noticing we got everything for Val's room ready to go, everything's set up. I mean, we just describe the amount of effort that me and Jordan and you all come and steward together have been kind of closely putting in to drive all the way back to Grant to get Valerie's stuff and just like I had it worded really good until I just started saying it, so I kind of lost it. I guess never
Let
mind.
me ask a question that may
really
sum
together.
this all up. All right, Ms. Kirkland, you've known Mr. Richardson has some problems in the past with issues, and I won't go into them totally. But do you feel safe with him around your children?
Absolutely. There's been multiple times that he has watched my children under just the supervision of himself, and I feel comfortable with that.
Okay, and you would feel that he would be, and you would feel that he would be safe and comfortable with any child.
Yes.
Do you think that he would be a good parent to a child?
Yes.
Okay.
Your Honor, have I missed something?
No, nothing at all, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean. They're just questions. I'm trying to make sure. Remember, parenting time is ordered by the court, and it must be ordered by the court in some way, shape, or fashion in the best interest of a child.
Yep.
I'm trying to make sure that we have a witness here who has witnessed him with children, that she feels that he would be comfortable around children, including your child. Forgive me, but that's a pertinent form of information. Now, you may cross-examine on that, and that's what I was going to open this up for.
No, I was questioning because he said they're very excited about the outcome. They already have a room ready for her.
I get that. I get that. And that may or may not be the outcome. That's why I'm questioning whether a person who's seen him with children and trusts him with children is feeling okay with him with children. That's why I'm going to open up this for cross-examination by you, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean. I mean, there are many issues in this case.
No,
and I have to deal with them.
To see her again. I just wanted to say that we're getting
well.
We're
my thing is the law presumes that parenting time will happen, but it must happen in a safe environment and with a person that the law deems safe to be there. There's a presumption of safety, but there's some evidence here that there's concerns, and I want to make sure that the court gets to address those concerns. And that's why, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, you may cross-examine this witness. It was a pertinent question because that's what's pertinent here. I need to know if it's safe.
My question was, were my two witnesses here today as well? They were.
I don't know. We're going with his witness, so we haven't gotten to yours yet.
Okay, just wanted to.
I mean, because you went first, so we went with his witnesses, and his witness wasn't present last time, and neither was yours. So we're going to get to that momentarily.
Okay.
But right now we have this witness on the stand to cross-examine by you. So you may cross-examine this witness, ma'am.
So when you guys say that you're there all the time, are there ever times that you all go out as adults, and what do you guys like to do?
We really don't get a chance to go out as adults. I'm technically a single mom of 3. I mean, I have my boyfriend, but I really don't get a chance away from my kids besides them going to daycare. So we really have not done anything as adults. Every time we do go out with kids.
What would you say the dynamic is between Timmy and Timothy with schooling? Are they working on that with him, do you think?
Absolutely. He does go to daycare. So he is getting a lot of the schooling that he needs from daycare. But there's been multiple times where he's came home. Timmy has came home from work, and he'll sit there with Timothy, and they'll read books together. They'll sing the alphabet together, stuff like that. So I mean, that's pretty much what you primarily focus on for preschool. So I would say that that's helping towards his schooling. Yeah.
Have you ever dealt with someone that was abusive to their significant other?
Absolutely. I dealt with it myself.
Okay. Would that be with your current partner?
No, that was with my children's father.
Okay. I was just curious.
Yep.
Not to pry too much, just
No,
curious.
you're fine. You're fine.
Sometimes watching those behaviors in certain people, you can see those in other people.
Yep.
And just curious. I mean, you see him now, but when he gets upset, what is his go-to? Does he have to step away? Does he scream? Is there holes in the wall anymore kind of thing?
I mean, I've definitely seen him get a little frustrated sometimes. And I've noticed that his biggest go-to is he'll just step outside and smoke a cigarette.
Okay. And all he's doing out there is a cigarette?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Does he ever drink by chance?
I've never seen alcohol in the home.
Okay. And the smoking is definitely outside of the home at this time.
Yes. Yeah.
There's no smoking in the bathroom with a vent on kind of thing that you know of.
No, we get regular inspections. We would get evicted if somebody was smoking in the home.
Gotcha. Okay. That was my next question. Who was doing the inspections? But I get you. It sounds like
we live in low income housing, so it's by the state board.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then in the past, Timmy had a big problem with waking up. I'm not sure if it was his past habits or if it was, third shift or just lack of, time scheduling. Do you see him getting up early in the morning / is Jordan still doing the waking up of him, or do you see him more independent and them as co-partners versus her putting everything and having to do everything?
I mean, I don't see the actual morning routine because I'm not there. But I do know they're out the door every morning by at least 5 a.m. to get him all the way out to work, so that she can get back to get Ellie to school.
No offense, Miss Gonzalez-Dean, but I don't expect her to be in the house on the morning routine. But
no,
you can ask her about, is the kid on time for the school routine?
Not every day, but she had mentioned that they're together all the time.
Correct. I mean, yes, I agree. I was trying to keep this a little light.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No problem. No, don't apologize. Like I said, I have a lot of people that butt heads and call each other names a lot. And if I can keep it somewhat light and realize that, yeah, she did testify, she's around a lot. So I would expect her to understand maybe that she sees the kid in the morning routine and the fact that he's at school on time or at the bus stop. So I'll let you continue, please.
I was asking about the behavior of the dad, which is what we're here for.
Correct.
That's all I had to say.
All right. Any other questions, ma'am?
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off or stop you. I was just trying to add some levity to a really bad situation. I don't expect her to be there while they're cooking breakfast.
I mean, they said they shared meals. So
yeah, I know. Well, I guess that should happen. Miss Kirkendall, have you ever been there for a breakfast presentation?
No, I usually work a lot of early mornings.
Okay.
So dinner's our best bet.
Okay, well, maybe ask for breakfast next time, maybe some crepes. Yeah, maybe some crepes, a couple of pancakes, but to your knowledge, when the child is with his father or with the father, they make it to school, they make it to the bus stop on time.
Yep.
Do your kids have the same bus stop?
So we actually live too close to the school. So we don't have a bus stop. We have to take our children to school.
So do you take them together?
No, we drive separately. Usually she will go straight from dropping Timmy off at work to dropping Ellie off at school.
Okay, but to the best of your knowledge, you've experienced the fact that the child gets to school on time.
Yeah, every day I pass right by her car dropping my own daughter off.
Okay. Sorry, Miss Gonzalez-Dean. I just wanted to get more specific about that, and forgive me for the sideline. Like I said, I watch a lot of people call I demean each other. You guys really haven't done that all that much. And I know, it's not worth it. And I thank you for both being very upfront, but I was trying to keep it within the spirit of this and the fact that, yeah, you're right. She's been with dinners. Maybe she's seen breakfasts, and I thought all right. Sorry, I had motions this morning. They were really nasty and bad, and I'm trying to keep all of you, keeping a decent relationship. Mr. Richardson, any more questions about this witness?
Following up on one question that Sheena asked and kind of expanded upon, she was wondering about how, you can tell abuse and whatnot, and you mentioned that you were in an abusive relationship. Would you like to expand upon your relationship with Cameron and how your relationship, Cameron being the father of her children, and why you are a perfect person to kind of, not that I need a watchdog by any means, I'm not saying that, but to be a person that would be able to spot signs immediately because of what happened with Cameron? Can you go into detail about how you experienced what you experienced with her means that I couldn't get anything past you? Not that I, I'm trying to or nothing like that, but like, could you elaborate on that a little bit for me? I'm having trouble with it.
So I mean, I was in a relationship with my children's father for close to 10 years. He was extremely abusive. He laid his hands on me. He laid his hands on the kids. And it got to a point where we ended up having to flee the house. But with that being said, it does make it very easy for me to spot abuse that's being done, whether it's just flying off the handle because you're angry, or clenching fists when you're angry. There's just like a bunch of signs that I've picked up myself being in an abusive relationship for so long that it's pretty hard for me not to catch on to those.
And do you see any of those signs in me?
I do not.
I don't know if you remember this incident, but it's kind of proved how much of a watchdog you are on me. But do you remember the glue stick incident in the kitchen?
The what?
When you found the glue stick in the kitchen?
Glue stick?
You thought it was something else?
Oh, yeah. Yep, I do remember.
Would you care to describe that story and just kind of prove how, on top of it you are, like, again, not that I need the watchfire or nothing like that, but it's just another layer of security I have, just to know that Val's safe no matter what kind of thing. Like,
yeah, so I had walked into so in addition to my children's father being abusive, he also was a meth addict. And I had walked into the kitchen one day to help with dinner, and I had seen something on top of the pantry, and it looked like a meth pipe. And so immediately I picked it up and I was like, Timmy, what is this? And he kind of walked into the kitchen and just kind of giggled at me, and he was like, it's a glue stick. And I kind of like looked at it in depth more, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. But it's definitely something I caught real quick, and I was immediately like, hey, what the heck is this?
Thank you.
And that was at Mr. Richardson's house.
Yes, that was actually within like the last 3 weeks.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, Mr. Richardson?
No, not really. Not for her directly. I have some stuff I want to say at the end, but that's about it.
All right, Mr. Gonzalez, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, is there any cross-examination on that testimony?
No.
Okay. In that case, Ms. Kirkendall, you are released. Welcome and thank you for being.
Thank you.
And forgive my bad sense of humor. I just try to keep things light because, forgive me, I watch a lot of people butt heads and just.
You kind of have to in your field of work.
Yeah, I do 30 to 70 hearings a week. It sometimes gets really bad. And I had a bad morning, so I was trying to keep it lighter, and maybe
right.
My sense of humor is just obviously not that good for being a geek.
I get that.
But in any event, okay, Mr. Richardson, that was the last of your witnesses, sir?
Yep.
Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, your next witness. I know we reserved on yours.
I had subpoenaed the CPS worker and the friend of court worker.
All right, Ms. LeVay, are they present?
I don't have anyone present.
But you did subpoena them, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean? Did you get any responses from them?
Ms. LeVay had sent me an email verifying that the receipt of subpoena was sent.
All right, Ms. LeVay.
It was sent. I see it in court view, but no one's here.
Excuse me? We've subpoenaed CPS and... Okay, forgive me, I'm sorry. But a subpoena normally has the force of court. So, but you don't have them here, but the subpoenas were verified. Did either of these people get back to you? Ms. LeVay. No, forgive me. I'm asking Ms. LeVay because sometimes they notify the court. We give credibility for them being on vacation. Sometimes they don't control when they get called in for a hearing. But absent a vacation or some excuse, Miss LeVay, did anybody contact you?
No one reached out to me. I haven't heard from anyone. I did try to email Miss Hayes, and it appears she's out of the office.
Excuse me, but I think that the court needs to hear from both CPS and that's one of the reasons we adjourned this.
I don't know about
but
CPS,
as far as
I-
the court is concerned, the subpoenas were validly given.
I don't know about given. I just see them docketed in the court system.
And that's validly.
Yeah.
I wanted to get you two through this because they were validly subpoenaed. I don't want to issue a bench warrant for their presence. But what the court is going to do now is to ensure that they can both be here. Forgive me, Mr. Richardson. Forgive me, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, but that's unusual. Normally, if a subpoena is issued, the parties show, especially if they're state workers.
Yeah, I can't imagine why a state worker wouldn't show. I mean, I just subpoenaed Courtney for a job, so I completely understand how crazy it is.
Yeah, tell me about it. I'm confused myself. I've been doing this for 18 years.
I can see it on your face, man.
Yeah, and well, you know, if somebody subpoenas a worker, they generally contact us and say, hey, I'm on vacation that week, or I'm sorry, I already have an appointment. Can we reschedule? And we reschedule for their ability. So at this point in time, I'm going to valid, because I can't, the court can ask, but how we ask is we have you subpoena them. Okay? Because the court can call a witness, but we call it through you. You've done that, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean. So the court is going to issue statements or issue requests to both parties to honor your subpoenas. Otherwise, I may have no choice but to issue a bench warrant, which means they will be here. I don't like to do that to state workers. They have too many things to do, and you know, sometimes screw-ups happen. But we need them, and Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, you appropriately called them. So the court should not issue an opinion until we hear from them. Mr. Richardson, you presented your witnesses. Is there anyone else you'd like to present?
There's really no one else on present other
All
than
right, you just have a closing statement to some.
Yeah, just to clarify some issues that I've seen recurring that Shane has been asking. One of them being about counseling, if I may, real quick.
Certainly.
So, with regard to counseling, I am officially in a counseling program. I've got paperwork to show the starting and everything.
Well, just make sure that Shayna knows that who the counselor is, and if she needs to contact them, the counselor may.
They're at the. Sorry to interrupt again.
Oh no, that's okay.
I have ADD, so my mind goes like that. It's actually the counseling office in the building in White Cloud that she works at.
All right.
Family health care that she still works at.
So Shayna, if you care to, Tim, if you please would tell her who the counselor is. Shayna, you can reach out to the counselor. The counselor may tell you I don't need any input.
I don't have the paper on the top of my head, and I'm bad with names, but I can see if it's in the backpack. No, it's in my old backpack.
No problem. Get it to her. Get it to
her
her off the record. It's okay.
I will email it to her.
All right. Yes, Shayna.
We have our family wizard, but he has not been present on it since March.
Okay, well, get back on it, Timothy.
I didn't have the money. I will be doing that
all
now.
Right.
I'm filing the reports to do it for the.
All right, hold on, Tim. What's your current income?
My current income is about $400 or $500 a week.
Okay. Shayna, what's yours?
It's about the same.
All right. I will issue an order next week that indicates that neither one of you have to pay. I can obviate the cost of my family wizard for 1 year.
What if I've already paid it?
Do you get another year? Would that help?
Yes, that would help a lot, sir.
All right. All I'm trying to do is help you get through this.
Yeah,
I'm trying to make sure that everything is okay for the kids. All right.
Yeah, the reason I don't have it is, like I said, I kind of, restarted life.
All right. I will issue an order that says my family wizard's costs are obviated for 1 year.
And will there be an email sent to me for me to figure out how to follow through with that? Or...
I'm going to send you an order. I believe you have to file the order with my family wizard.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I knew what I had to do on my
Understood.
end.
I'm just trying to help you guys through this.
Let's
get this so that both of you are involved with your children.
I just want to see my daughter again and have her see her family, her whole family.
Yeah. Your daughter needs both of you. You did screw up.
I'm not going to lie. I know I did.
I know you haven't lied, but we've got to move through this. The question is how and how to do safely and for the best interest of your daughter. Okay.
It's got to be slow at the start or nothing for a while. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, I know.
At some point.
So I will issue an order on Monday. indicating that My Family Wizard fees are waived for 1 year. They may give you a refund, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean. I don't know. I don't know how that works. I know they've told me I have that ability. They ask that I do not use it that often.
Well, keep it coming. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well, I get it.
Mark this on your calendar, and next year just do it again.
Yeah, well, I understand. I'd love to tell you don't have to pay taxes either, but I don't have that authority.
Darn.
I'd love to tell me I don't have to pay taxes.
One of
But
the few things you're guaranteed in life.
Yep, that and death. But the Supreme Court has issued an opinion that says, pay as little taxes legally as you possibly can. A lot of us use different words than that. You can
Read between the lines.
you can the IRS as much as possible as long as it's legal. So, but if I can help you with that and avoid costs, you can spend more money on your child. That's what's important. But Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, we will try and get the FOC. We will try and make those subpoenas happen. I'd love to give you another date, but I want to make sure that they're available because I want to hear from them. Because I want to make sure that this decision is done appropriately.
Thank you very much.
So we'll get to that and we'll have another hearing. Unfortunately, I was hoping to end this today and then make an opinion in the next week or so because I love to get these things done. But in any event,
I understand.
take care, ladies and gentlemen, and stay safe. And we will try and get this moved along as soon as possible.
Thank you.
All right, Miss LeVay, everybody's name's on the thing, and it was on there. I just couldn't remember. All right, Miss McBride, if you care to unmute. Good morning, ma'am. The truth in giving testimony. All right, welcome. All right, Miss Gonzalez-Dean, you may question your witness.
Good morning, Sheena. At the time of the investigation, when you questioned Miss Mansfield about drug usage, she had admitted what exactly to you about that in the household?
I do not recall what occurred with Miss Mansfield. I'm no longer with CPS, so I don't have a lot of knowledge and I don't have access to any files.
Okay. You don't remember the multiple times I've reached out throughout the year at all?
I believe speaking with you and maybe my supervisor, in regards to some concerns, in regards to your daughter, I believe it was. I'm not sure in recollection about the substance use. I think there were DV concerns.
Correct. Okay. Could you go further in that at all?
All I can recall is maybe there was some deep concerns with him in a previous ex-girlfriend, Miss Mansfield.
Correct. Well, she was previously and now currently again. So, okay. Unfortunately, I think that's all I have to ask at this time. Thank you for showing.
Oh, okay. In that case, then I have a question. If you can recall, Ms. McBride, do you remember if the case was opened or substantiated, or was it brought to court?
It was not brought to court, I don't believe. I think it was a Category 3 open close.
Oh, so just an open close. So that would mean that you
yeah.
didn't really substantiate anything
No.
of any harm to the child.
No.
Okay. Do you remember approximately when this investigation was done?
Maybe early this year, January, February.
Okay, so it was within 2024.
Yes.
Do you remember if there were any other CPS cases involving parties?
In regards to me, this was the one case that I've had.
Okay. So you don't know, because if you investigated, you would have noted probably in your report at least that
it could be in the report. I don't have access to anything.
Yeah, I understand, but I mean, if it was in the report, I was just asking if you remembered or recalled. So
I don't. I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, I'm just okay. Mr. Richardson, do you have any questions for this witness?
Oh, hold on. I'm muted. No, sorry, that was muted. No, I don't have any questions.
Okay, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, do you have any copy of that report?
I do not on hand. I believe that was emailed to the friend of court. It should have been sent to both friend of court and as well as the courts. I
don't believe the court has received. I did not see any copy of a. Let me double check. But I don't believe I received the front of the court stuff, but I did not receive any Child Protective Services exhibits.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Richardson, I would like her to present that to the court. Do you have a copy of it too, Mr. Richardson? Did you ever receive it?
Probably, but it's buried in my email.
Okay,
and
but you have had it and you've read it.
I want to say yes, but I don't really remember it. So, but I want to say yes. So.
The court is
thinking that there was some type of substantiated evidence.
Well, and that what I want is a copy of the report, because if I trust me, this is a third of what I do in my life. I do a third juvenile delinquency, a third abuse neglect, and a third domestic. And before I make any decisions, I would like to be able to read that report. And since we have Ms. McBride here, and that's why I'm holding you here, Ms. McBride, because you did write a report. You do remember doing that. You just can't remember
Yes.
some of the substance of it.
Yes, and in regards to they would have to request it to get a copy of it. So I
Right.
can't remember if they requested or not.
Well, hopefully they requested it and hopefully they have a copy. Otherwise, I'm going to give you a week to get that to the court, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean. And if you can, email Mr. Richardson a new copy of it. Okay. I feel that I would be remiss as a court, and I'm ordering it because it's a misdemeanor to distribute it. But with the court order saying the court needs to see it and you are the only two parties involved in it, distribution with the three of us is not a problem. Ms. McBride, I believe that you are released then. Thank you for your time. Sorry to interrupt your life or something, but like I said, I want to get these parties as much an opportunity to present as much evidence as possible. They both realize that I've got to deal with parenting time somehow. And I think I really do need to read that report to ensure of what's going on. Alrighty. Thank you for your time and patience. All right, you are released. All right, and I take it the next witness, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, is going to be the front of the court.
Yes.
And if I remember, that is Liz Hayes, and she has testified in my courtroom many times. So that name I remember. Tim, are you cold?
Yeah, I'm in the car waiting for it to start. The bus waiting for this to get done so I can start.
Yeah.
So
I always love the dichotomy of this. I was rewatching a couple of the last bits of the hearings to figure out where we're at, since I do 30 to 70 hearings a week. Remembering these is not something that's easy. And Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, you always look so comfortable and relaxed, and he always looks scrunched up.
Not on the inside.
Hey,
It's also how I say I'm 6'2" and I wear boots, so I'm 6'4" in boots, and so I'm sitting in a small car, so I'm really cramped. And when I'm on the bed, I try to prop my legs up so I don't have to hold the phone with my hands.
Okay, no problem. I just, like I said, the dichotomy is just so weird because, no offense, that is what it appears to be. So, but in any event, we are still on the record in the matter of Gonzalez-Dean versus Richardson. Ms. Hayes, you have been called as a witness in this case. If you wouldn't mind, please raising your right hand, ma'am. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in giving testimony?
Yes, I do.
All righty, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, you may question this witness.
Good morning, Ms. Hayes.
Good morning.
So we do have your evaluation into the courts, and I know it's quite extensive, but could you perhaps highlight the portions about domestic violence, the drug usage, as well as my concerns perhaps not being taken very seriously?
Yes. So I met with the parties 2 different times. Once on August 30 of 2023, and then again on April 10 of 2024. The concerns that Ms. Gonzalez-Dean just mentioned are outlined primarily in the second report and recommendation that I authored. And those concerns were related to police contact that had occurred in Mr. Richardson's home following allegations of domestic violence between Mr. Richardson and his then partner, Miss Mansfield, I believe. So there were police reports that I reviewed related to those incidents. And I also spoke with Miss Mansfield directly so that she could provide additional information to corroborate those concerns and sort of substantiate what was already outlined in the police report. With regard to concerns about...
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, Ms. Hayes, I do have a question since you briefly stopped. This is the report from May 28th of 2024?
Correct.
That's your second report. That's the one that's been presented to the court. Okay. Please proceed. I just wanted to make sure because I know there were 2 of them and I wanted to make sure I had the right copy.
Yes, correct. The one from 2024.
Okay. Please proceed, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean.
Oh, I thought continuing. Apologies.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to continue with the allegations regarding substance abuse?
Yes. And actually, there's one question I have. So you had gotten an opportunity to speak with Jordan, and at the time, what was mentioned about the drug use? Did she view it? Did she catch him? Was it in home? Because previously within our interview with her, she had stated she did not see it, but within your report, it says otherwise.
Yes, I recall when I spoke with Miss Mansfield, she disclosed that she had initially witnessed, or I think her exact words were caught, Mr. Richardson smoking meth back in 2021.
Correct. And at that time, did she mention it was within the home?
Yes, she did say that that was occurring in the home.
Okay. And then there was also a mention from her that even this year when he had her previously, his responsibilities as a parent, were they quite high, minimal?
Ms. Mansfield described being the primary caregiver for all of the children in their combined household. She stated that even when Mr. Richardson was home and outside of the working hours, she stated she was primarily providing all of the care and attending to the needs of all 3 of the children in the home.
And then in the interview from, I believe, August or October of last year, he had stated to you he was clean for how long? Do you recollect that at all?
How long did Mr. Richardson state he had been sober? I believe he'd indicated he had been sober from a prior opiate addiction for approximately 6 years at that point.
Okay. And then within the meetings that we've had, would you say that his verbiage is of a past user or of a current person kind of struggling with these addictions?
The way that he spoke about his use indicated prior, that it was a prior issue. It was all prior use. He did not initially indicate any current substance use. When confronted about the police reports and the concerns that you had outlined in your paperwork, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, I asked him specifically about the police reports related to being discovered with meth on his person and in the car. And he did respond that was, I believe he referred to it as a relapse. He said that meth was something new that he was trying at that time, and that he indicated that he, again, was sober from all substances at the time of the report.
Okay, thank you. There was one other thing. In your report, you had recommended that he has counseling and rehabilitation. Would you say that someone with the concerns that I have for him, do you think someone in his position can change just by, taking a break from a relationship and then kind of delving right back into it a month and a half later?
I don't really know how to answer that question. I'm not really in a position to kind of speculate on one's ability to change. I think my recommendation for him to engage in treatment was really to focus and address his substance abuse issues and hopefully build in some skills and supports to avoid ongoing drug use.
Okay. I think that's about it. Pretty much covered all the bases as to what I was looking for getting information about within the household. The methamphetamine use and just the recurrent and constant problem of, is it going to happen again, kind of thing. Thank you.
Sure.
Referee, you have to unmute.
What's that?
I chatted with my clerk because I had talked about something earlier, and next thing I know, it notified me that my clerk had muted me, and I sent her a chat saying, "Why did you mute me?" And she never unmuted me. I'm like, her and my wife would love to do that kind of stuff. In any
like the
event,
movie Click. Like
yeah,
the movie Click.
yeah, that would do it. Anyway, in any event, hopefully you heard me earlier when I made some statements, but if not, we'll move on. So the report of 5/28, 2024 will be entered as an exhibit into this case at this time. So, but now, Mr. Richardson, you may cross-examine this witness.
I don't really have any questions other than more or less a statement that I really wanted to hear, that I have begun therapy and that I have taken a lot of steps to get all those kind of people out of my life. Like, I talked to my therapist this month about how I had a lot of bad people.
Hold on. I'm going to give you a chance for a closing statement momentarily.
Oh, sorry.
So you have no questions for Ms. Hayes then?
Nope.
Okay, and Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, you are done with this witness?
I believe so. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Hayes, you are excused. Thank you. Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, any other witnesses?
I believe that's as much as I feel needs to be presented.
All righty, then we will go with closing statements. Mr. Richardson, you may go with your statement, sir.
I've made a lot of mistakes in the past, and I messed up this last year, and I lost time with my daughter because of it. And that really made me reflect and change. And I've made a big effort towards changing to being more involved in the kids' life when I'm outside of work. I spent quite a few months not working, rehabilitating myself in my dad's house, getting myself set to the right path. I got a lot of people out of my life, and I talked to my therapist recently about how about how I attract a lot of negative people and how I'm keeping them out now and things to do to avoid that, and about the drug counseling and everything everything else. I've really grown a lot, and I just want to see my daughter again. I know I've made mistakes, but that's not me anymore, and I hope that's proven. And I'm really working hard towards it. I've changed career fields and everything just to keep away from those types of things. And I'm in a good Christian workplace, where that matters a lot. And I go to church every Sunday to kind of keep myself on track, because I'm just really focusing on keeping myself to be right for my kids and right for me, because I needed to change and I decided I needed to do it, so I did it.
Okay. Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, your closing statement, ma'am.
This case is not a matter of us getting along. It's a matter of recurrent drug usage and domestic violence. And due to these concerns and inability to be a coherent and responsible adult, I'm adamant in maintaining my position and stating that prior to return of Valerie Richardson, both Mr. Richardson and Jordan Mansfield need counseling and intense drug rehabilitation documented and completed. The friend of court evaluator states in report, page 2 recommendation, that they would assert that my motions earlier this year were far from frivolous, as Mr. Richardson continuously tries to state, and based in legitimate concerns, corroborated in police reports, a substantiated CPS case, and pending criminal charges for drug and assaultive behavior. Jordan had stated previously that she did not catch Mr. Timothy Richardson with meth, but as we've seen, the statement has changed, and unfortunately, her true actions and the true actions of Mr. Richardson cannot be properly documented from either of them. 2023, he had stated he was clean for 6 years. This is lies. These habits are just that, habits, and simply taking a break in a relationship or whatever they may have called it is not an adequate change to foster and ensure growth and understanding of actions. Throughout these 4 years, I've begged and pleaded to be given some form of accountability due to these concerns. This year, we finally have evidence in his admittance to his actions. Instead of remorse or regret for his actions, each time we have interactions, it is anger and questioning why I've done as I have to protect my child. His behavior to me does not show change or acknowledgement of actions, and I truly believe he needs help. Please follow the recommendation of the friend of court as to supervise visitations with calls throughout the week. Once verified he's actually making changes and better, we can then reevaluate.
Okay. Thank you both. I'm going to review
I have
all
one
of
last
the.
thing to say. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. I just remembered my family wizard. The free thing did not go through. I've been trying to log on to it.
Oh, okay. Keep trying.
Yeah, I've been trying to log on to it so I can contact Valerie.
Yeah.
Give her a
Yeah.
call.
Yeah, that would be, I was going to say, because the two of you really don't talk very well, I was going to offer that there's another app that can be used other than My Family Wizard. But
I would want everything recorded.
the other app records things too.
Okay.
I'm just trying to think of, there's two, and if we can't get My Family Wizard to work, I may switch and say try the other one. You obviously need something to work. Yes.
We haven't. Was I supposed to receive something in the mail about the return of the funds for that, or how?
I have no idea.
It
Okay.
hasn't gone through yet because I can't log on yet.
Yeah, so keep trying to log on, and then when I issue my opinion, remind me that if that's still an issue or not. That way we may be able to deal with it. I'll reserve on that ability to give you the other app if necessary.
Okay. And one other thing I've got to say is that those cases are both closed, and me and Jordan spent 6 months apart, not a month.
Understood. Like I said, I'm going to review the entire file and the exhibits and all the testimony from 3 days of testimony, and then I will issue an opinion. I'll bring you both in for that. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I'd like to remind you both that you've not given me all that much. Although we've had 3 days, I don't even think we've had a total of 2 hours worth of testimony. So I will do my best. Just remember, I can only base an opinion based on what I hear. And again, 3 days of testimony with only about 2 hours worth of total testimony because witnesses didn't show or questions were done quickly. I mean, we only adjourned this because it was really a necessity to hear from the front of the court and Child Protective Services, but even their testimony was quick. So I will do my best. And Ms. LeVay, do we have a date for an oral opinion, please?
Were you thinking 2 weeks out or more?
2.5 probably. I don't want to do it during a motion week because I've spent too much time. And
Okay.
next week's might be too soon. I'm going to try and get to it next week, but I can't guarantee it. 11:25 at 11 a.m. Again by Zoom. Okay.
Okay. All right.
I promise you I will do my best, but I can also promise you it's never great. It's always
11:25 at
something
what time again?
at 11 a.m.
All right. Thank you.
All righty. Good
Yeah,
luck,
thank you.
everybody.
Bye.